Good afternoon, race fans. We're back. It's Box3 Motorsports. I am excited. Season 5 kicking off. We're ready to go. My name is Adam Thursby, and joining me, not for the first time, and certainly not for the last, hopefully full time, all the time, Mr. Philip Whelp Cakes Milwee is here. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing today?
I am fantastic. I'm so happy to have you here with us. I think this is great, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun as we cover Season 5. Now, the last time you and I spoke was last year during the 6-hour race, and we got a 12-hour coming up in February. Yeah, it's Suzuka. So how have you been since then, sir? Keeping yourself out of trouble?
Oh, yeah. Just keeping myself out of trouble, just relaxing, hanging out with family and stuff like that.
There you go. That's the way it should be, right? Well, everybody, we're going to have to get used to this. So you have to understand, earlier this past week, my computer decided, well, not my computer so much as Windows Update decided it didn't want to update properly, and so everything ended up dumping. That was fun. I enjoyed that. As such, there's certain features missing. Phil and I didn't have a lot of time today to get things set up the way they should be, so unfortunately things are going to be a little weird, but I think we're going to get it as I just get things prepped up here and we get ready to go for today's race. So, Phil, we're at Paul Ricard to kick this season off. I've heard a lot of griping in the last couple days about Paul Ricard, but why don't you tell me a little bit yourself? I mean, how do you feel about this track?
I think it's a really good circuit to watch good close racing. I feel like the Mistral Straight, the kind of like the feature of this track is an interesting thing to watch. It's really interesting to see the drag battles, cars that really perform well with straight line speed. They really do well here at Paul Ricard. But the thing is, it's kind of like a Spa or like a Suzuka track where you have these real technical sections that benefit the people that know how to place their car, know the limits of their car, and can manage like the mechanical grip of the car. So it's really, it's not all about the straight. The straight's a big deal, but I'm really interested to see how people get on in Sector 3 in particular. So yeah, for me, I love the close racing that you get in Sector 1, Sector 3 in particular. And then the drag battles down the Mistral Straight are just a wonderful feature to watch.
I have never liked Paul Ricard. I'm not one that would complain about it, but it is not my favorite track. I've never been able to find my flow, especially in Sector 3, as we watch Bob Charlton head in that direction now. I have never been able to find my flow on this track whatsoever. Yeah, it's a skill issue. I know that, but it's just other tracks click, right? There's certain tracks, Brands Hatch, Spa, places like that, they click for me. Paul Ricard has never clicked for me. I've never been able to really get it to do what I wanted it to do.
In my personal experience, the thing about Paul Ricard and the flow, especially in Sector 1 and Sector 3, like there are only a few cars in ACC that I can really kind of like lock in to the technical sections of Paul Ricard. Mm-hmm. I used to main the Lexus for a long time. That's a car that's kind of like, when it comes to technical corners and stuff like that, you can be a monkey and you'll be able to drive the car around because all you do is basically just V every single corner. It's very easy to do. But so I think that Paul Ricard, unlike other tracks, for most drivers, it's very dependent on, like, is this a car you know? Is this a car that you can click at Paul Ricard with? Mm-hmm. We'll kind of see that here because I'm sure we've got people in the field that are working with cars that they may not be more experienced with. It's just going to be interesting to see because the people who know their car, know the limits of their car, and can get into a flow around here, they're gonna float to the top.
Yeah, and as I said, that's always been my issue, right? Is the flow. It's always been the flow. So we'll see. Hopefully our drivers have more success than I do today. But let's talk about it. We are right now we're looking at the AM and Pro-Am class drivers. This is our first race of the day. Remember, we've got splits that we're running. So we've got from AM and Pro-Am drivers now for a 30-minute race coming up after our 10-minute practice finishes and a 15-minute qual. After that, we will join already in progress our Pro and Silver class racers who will be at Paul Ricard as well for a 45-minute race. There is a mandatory pit stop for tires and fuel during the course of this race. for both splits. They'll both need to do that. But let's take a look. We got a lot of returning drivers this season, but we have some wild cards, some new drivers, folks that we haven't seen on track with Box 3 before. So things are going to get interesting. Let's just run down the list. And this is always very difficult because these guys trade places as we go through it during the course of practice and qual. But Chai Kuba joining us, I believe, for the first time out there in the Nissan. Odd to see a Nissan. We don't get a lot of Nissans.
GTR, I've seen it more recently with the latest like 1.8 patches, and also I feel like with the kinds of cars that we have access to in ACC right now, people are waiting for the next like GT3 update to come out when you get like the 296 and the new Lambo. I think a lot of people are kind of tired of the meta that we've been experiencing. So I've been seeing cars like the GTR, I've been seeing the M6, I've been seeing those more and more in racing.
Okay.
I think it's mostly down to people just want to try out different cars in the meta.
Yeah, now correct me if I'm wrong, but the meta, at least what we've seen over the course of season 4, was really the Audi, the Evo 2, right?
So
it was a big part of it anyway.
Well, so the Audi getting changed in 1.8 was a huge update. Changed the characteristics of the cars for most people that were Audi mains. The meta though was really like the NSX really moved to the top of the list in a lot of places. Porsche also was very strong. There were some tracks where the Aston was strong as well. Yeah, Retro Coffin's right on the money. The NSX is still OP. I do know that with some of the updates that we've seen, some of the other cars have kind of like floated into the middle, but it's really still kind of down to, is it an NSX track or is it a Porsche track?
Yeah.
So I think that's where we're going to be at with this meta, and at least until we get like another big update. But you never know.
Gotcha. Well, keeping going down the list, the returning Josie Austin is on track with us today right now, holding purple. But Jace Wright, currently sitting in third, might just be able to take that. Michael Zwanenberg returns this season in the number 420 car. And as I said, Jace Wright, not quite going to be able to beat that top time by Austin right now. Alex Martin is back in the number 94. This time in the Lexus. He wasn't in the Lexus last season, I don't believe. We'll have to see how Alex does this season. Tristan Jonendijk back in the number 69 car. And we almost missed him. Bruce Hopkins, as those guys swap spots on the tower. Bruce Hopkins back with us. And jumping all the way up to P2, Jester Flump, a new driver this season, and this year, I guess. Kenny O'Connor back with us. Justin Sacombe. Now, we saw Justin during the 6 hour, I believe, right?
Yeah.
We have the Sacombe brothers, right?
Yep. Jared and Justin, yep.
Yeah, I don't see them both on track, though, here. So, looks like just Justin in the Am and Pro-Am class. Eric Allard.
I suspect that you'll see Jared, if he's doing Box 3 this season, he'll be in the Pro or Silver. But he's pretty quick.
Okay. There we go. Bob Charlton jumping up to the top of the 157.1. Now, are these times you were seeing so far, are these what you'd expect to see for AM and Pro-Am drivers?
So right now, let me take a look at the leaderboard real fast. So 57.1, that's pretty far off pace from, like, if you're looking at like Apex Hot Lap leaderboards, but these guys might be running either, because it's free practice, they might be doing a little bit of full fuel runs just to get an idea of what their tire pressures are going to be. I would probably put Pro AM, like, I'd like to see more times in the 56s, but 57.1 is knocking on the door of the 56s. So Martin's doing a real good job in the Lexus, and Lexus is a beast in a straight line in Sector 2. So I'm kind of interested. What I am loving about the leaderboard right now is the top. What are we down to? I think it's the top 7. No, top 7 are all within. Our top 6 are now all within a half second. No, now top 7, all within a half second.
Yeah, that's nice close racing right there.
Indeed. Yeah,
Nice.
I'm looking forward to it.
Let's take a look, though. Frank Reynolds, the Warthog returns. We saw Frank at the beginning of Season 4, but then we lost him a little bit later on, and he did not come back. But Frank Reynolds back out on track. Michael Kozubski sitting in the pits right now. Brandon Walrath, a new driver this season. Yeah, what's up?
I did double check, and it does look like it's just Justin this time around. So Justin in the AM Pro AM split, the lone Sicone brother in box 3 for season 5, but I'm interested to see how he gets on in the BMW. BMW is a car that's gotten a little bit tougher to drive. It's one of the slower cars on track, so it's going to be tough. But the aero platform in the M4 is really good, so I'm looking for it to be stronger in Sector 1, Sector 3. But again, it's just such a tough car to drive. It's kind of a weird. It handles weird in comparison to other front-wheel drive or front-engine cars. So we're just gonna have to see if he can kind of crawl up the order a little bit. It's currently 15th with a 58.660, but he's gonna wait for quality to start.
Well, we'll see here because Bob Charlton able to finish out this practice session so far. He's still on a hot lap, but 156.5, so he's brought it down another 0.6 there. Your boy Blue returns. Number 614 Bentley, and sticking with that Bentley this season, Terrell Seens Taylor is back with us. Robert Hepburn still sitting in the pits, but another returning driver in the Porsche. And Chief Blaze in the 421, another Bentley on track. So a great mix of manufacturers, I have to say. No Audis. Again, I think we saw this last season where the AM and the Pro-Am drivers there are no Audis on track in the lower split. What's up, Max Charb? Welcome in, sir.
It's a tough car to drive. Mm-hmm. It's a tougher car to drive. The handling characteristics of it in medium high-speed corners can sometimes catch people out. Gotcha. You'll hear people joke in chat about just Audi things, because that's basically what happens. You go into a medium speed corner, you might lift too much, or you might tap the brakes and then lift off the throttle too much and get some lift off oversteer, and then you just kind of hockey puck off the track. So, it's a tougher car to drive.
So you're saying maybe it's not a skill issue, maybe it's the car? Is that what I'm hearing?
The car handles. It's challenging even for some of the people who main it. There are certain tracks where it can be a bit of a pill. Paul Ricard is one of them, because when you come down the Mistral Straight and you go into Signal Corner at the very end of the Mistral Straight, it's a high-speed corner, and it's very easy for you to get lift-off oversteer. And if you get lift-off oversteer and you go off track, because there's no kitty litter or a wall nearby, you could just go off track for multiple car lengths.
Yeah.
Also that track surface around there, everybody comments about the feature piece here being the colored lines on track. Those are varying, like in real life, they're varying different levels of grip on those. They're like designed to slow the car down. They're actually like rough things inside the paint. So you can totally screw your tires if you go off track, especially at a place like Signal Corner.
We get to watch here, and people affectionately call Paul Ricard the parking lot, because really, just go and park anywhere in those blue lines. But 24 drivers in our AM and Pro-Am split today. Get an opportunity to see all these guys out on track. This is going to be so much fun. I'm so happy to be back for Season 5. In case any of y'all missed it, we did, as we mentioned earlier, we did have, where is it? 6 hours. Our 6-hour races continue. The 6 hours of Kyalami was just yesterday over at the Trackalicious Twitch channel, but coming up February 18th, the 12 hours of Mount Panorama finishes out that season, and you're going to be able to catch all 12 hours right here at Box 3 Motorsports. Now, Phil, are you driving that one, or are you joining me here? I can't remember. I thought we talked about it.
No, I'll be driving.
You're going to be driving.
I'm in the Ferrari with Coasty and Beltan. Like, perfect. Coasty has been doing an amazing job in that car this season, running solo for all the 6-hour events. But he wanted to do a team event for the finale, and he wanted me and Beltan to join him. So, perfect. Like, he's been scoring really good points, and then he's like, why don't you guys come join me for a race? I'm like, but you're doing well.
Yeah, I don't want to screw you up here on your season. But so you guys will just get to hear me for 12 hours straight. Closer to 13 by the time we're all done. So that'll be just fantastic. Don't worry about it. We'll have a good old time that entire time. February 18th, 1 p.m. UTC. It's going to be 9 a.m. or so Eastern. I don't remember. We'll figure it out, but it'll be here. Every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, recovery drive, race reviews. We'll be talking about the Paul Ricard race this coming Thursday. Chill out, rig roast, and talk about the upcoming race. And speaking of upcoming races, Season 5 continues next week at Barcelona. That one will be a 45-minute. Looks like we're sticking with the same 45 minutes for the pro and silver format drivers, and then a 30-minute race for the AM and Pro-Ams. As you can see there, Season 3 continues all the way until the beginning of March, where we will finish out at Bathurst. There's a great mix of tracks this season. I think a lot of technicals, but a lot of faster tracks, and something that's going to challenge everybody with Alton Park, Indianapolis in there. It'll be a lot of fun.
So it looks like we're starting to get some times that are going to report. We got a 56.5.
We do.
There we go.
Brandon Walrath.
We're in there. Fantastic. In the BMW M4 as well. So definitely putting me in my place and proving that it's not necessarily a slow car around Paul Ricard.
Nope, he's doing well today. So Steve Tomazic, Steve Tomazic jumping up now into third with a 157.4. Alex Martin just beating him out with another 157.4. We're going to see this all through qualification as these guys jockey for position, continuing to make those faster and faster laps. Me personally, when I'm qualing for any kind of race, it seems by like lap 3 or 4, I'm done. I've gone as fast as I can go.
Yeah, it's one of those tracks where it's really, I mean, it's almost a 2-minute lap. So, you know, you don't have a lot of time to take multiple bites at the apple. So most people will, you know, set their fuel runs to try and basically get like one good flyer in, maybe two. Yeah, it's just tricky. It's a especially if you're not in traffic. That's the other thing too, is that traffic at Paul Ricard is kind of like a catch-22, or it's kind of like you love it, but you also hate it. Like you want that draft down Sector 2, down the Mistral Straight, but then you go into Sector 1 and Sector 3, and you don't want the car in front of you anymore. Like so it's just one of those things where it kind of cuts both ways. So it's going to be interesting to see how people handle traffic around here. We don't have a huge grid. Like 24 cars is a pretty decent size for Paul Ricard. And right now I'm looking at the track map, and we've got kind of a few stragglers still chilling in the pits. We've got the 103 car, and I think that is also the 456. Yep. 103 cars coming out of the pits now. But we've got a gaggle of cars in Sector 3 right now that are all kind of like bunched up. And they're probably impacting each other's laps.
Well, Brandon Walrath extends his lead down to a 156 flat 007 on that time. Yeah, very speedy.
That's more of what I was kind of hoping to see from the Pro AM drivers, is to see people pop into the 56s. Maybe it would be awesome to see a 55. So like fingers crossed we get to see one of those. But again, it's one of those deals where I'm looking at the leaderboards right now. We've got a pocket of drivers going from about P4 all the way down to, I'd say, probably P10, where they're really close in terms of times. So I'm kind of interested to see how this all shakes out.
Every week, you'd think at this point we'd just focus the cameras on the mid-pack, because it seems that's where all the close battles are every week. Bob Charlton getting himself back up into second with a 156.437. And now Gian Cardoso sitting in third. In the McLaren, the number 42 car, 156.612. So we've gotten now the top 5 all in that 156 range so far. We'll see how many other drivers can join during the course of this qualifying. Just under 7.5 minutes left to go. Nobody in the pits at this point, so drivers very well spread out on track. Everybody looking to get their laps in. Can I show split? No, I cannot. I can show the car number, but I can't show the split. I'm sorry. Not possible with this software. I don't know why, but it won't.
The thing I would recommend there is if people are interested in getting a little bit more data from the broadcast, if you've got like a tablet, even a phone's kind of cool to use. Pitwall Live, if you do ! Pitwall in chat, it'll pull up the Box3 link. I use it. It's ritualistic for me at this point to have Pitwall open while I'm watching ACC racing. So like for me, I use I've got a pro version, but you get a lot of data from even the free app if you make an account. The anonymous app is just like a straight timing wall like you'd get from like Le Mans or something like that.
Yeah.
But you can get some pretty good data, and the gaps right now. I'm just looking at the timing right now in terms of the gaps, and yeah, I mean it is starting to really stack up. We've got a 56-0 still. Wallrath's still on top.
Charlton just barely didn't make it, but he's running out right now. 2 tenths ahead.
Yeah.
But Wallrath cutting another half a second. Now 6 tenths ahead.
Yeah, Wallrath about to hit Sector 2. He is just now going through the hairpin at Turn 5. He's got a little bit of traffic in front of him. Might be able to benefit getting a good slipstream. So if he's gonna make an effort to really like bounce past Wallrath, he's gonna have to maximize what he can do. And it looks like he did get past. I believe that is the 514 car going down the Mistral Straight. So if he can maximize Sector 2 time, because he's rolling BMW. I think he's in the M4.
There we go.
Again,
Wallrath got down to the 155s.
Yeah, 55.9. So punched into it.
But Charlton is right there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's close.
Now dropped it back. He's 4 tenths off his pace. It looks like he has slipped now. He was showing it as going to take purple on this lap, just not able to hold on to it.
That's another instance of, I think, like having the draft down the Mistral Straight is really a good thing for getting up to like insane top speeds. But the problem is when you go into single corner, you have so much aero wash, and it's a high-speed corner that it can generate a lot of understeer in the car. So it could have been he was reacting to try and keep from getting an off track, but whatever, it ruined his opportunity. Hopefully he's got enough fuel on board, he can take another shot at it, because he's still got 4 minutes and what?
Yeah, 4:10.
10 seconds.
4:10 left. That's more than enough time to actually throw down 2 more laps. So Wallrath now slowed down about 1.5 seconds off pace. Let's keep it right here with Charlton. Let's go right on board with him. Looks like he may have scrubbed his lap on this one. It is not going to count. Burke beat. I'm going to go with beat. Burke beat up into 3rd now. Number 25 car. Alex Martin holding on to 4th. Gian Cardoso in 5th. Josie Austin, Jace Wright, Kenny O'Connor, Bruce Hopkins, and Edward Walsh rounding out the top 10 so far. But with just over 3 minutes left to go in qualifying, I can tell you we will see more changing positions here before the end.
I'm just doing some more looking at the data. Again, we got such a close pack up at the top. Like we're talking half second between top 3. We've got another 2 tenths between what is effectively P4 and P7. So real tight pockets up at the top. And then you've got this like midfield gaggle of cars that go from like P8 down to like P15, where they're all within like a half second of one another. So it's going to be some real good close racing. Again, with that mandatory pit stop, that's another thing we need to talk about. Like taking the opportunity to plan when you're gonna take that pit stop is going to be a bit of a big deal, because being out of traffic is a good thing when you're in Sector 1, Sector 3, but it is a bit of a bad thing when you're kind of like like petering down the Mistral straight on your own. You got no draft. So it's going to be interesting. We're just going to have to wait and see what people do. Are there any like really fast racers with good pace going to take that pit, like at the soonest possible moment, and try and make the undercut all the way to the end of the race? I think the undercut or the overcut here could be, the undercut could be pretty powerful, but we're just gonna have to wait and see who takes a shot at the pit stops first.
Absolutely. Right now, we're watching Alex Martin, currently fourth, up 0.3 on his fastest lap. Cardoso up 0.3 right now too. So this is where we talked about only a minute and a half left to go, but still plenty of time for things to change around. Martin getting pushed to fifth right there, with Cardoso jumping all the way up into third.
Yeah, big move for Cardoso in the McLaren. Like just jumping up into the top three, currently three-ish tenths off of Charlton. But yeah, Martin's got to find some pace if he wants to catch up with I believe that is that Beat in the 25.
He's just
running the AMG around here.
Only about 0.2 up right now, and it's going to be close to see whether that's enough to get him up there. Now down to 0.1 up, and not going to be quite enough to move Alex Martin up into the top 4.
Just to answer,
any Porsches on track? I think we got one, right?
Yeah, we got Hepburn in the 460. Looks like he's currently in 16th, about almost 2 seconds off the pace, but within striking distance of getting inside that top 10. Because again, we've got a real tight pocket. Finding 3/10 will put you inside the top 10. So,
single Porsche. It's the thing. Nobody wants to drive the Porsche, so except for Zap, apparently. Zap and Retro, they're the only two that want to drive the Porsche.
Man,
I know.
You need to. I need to pull you some LFM stats, especially when like a track like Laguna's on the calendar. It's like
no doubt.
It's like an absolute. It's a spec race practically.
But Brandon Walrath, as of right now, holding on to pole position for the start of our AM and Pro-Am class race with a 155.385. So the only driver able to get into the 155s. Bob Charlton held out with a 156.017, so not quite enough to get there.
Yeah, it looks like most of the drivers have either aborted the lap or they're not really. Well, actually, I'm seeing some green sectors from some people, or not green sectors, but green times. Oh, it looks like Zwijnenberg has fully aborted the lap, so he's gonna probably just bring it back to the pits. Walsh, the only car out on track.
Yep, Walsh, the only one out right now.
AM driver doing 55.3. I know. It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
Ooh, and a slide right there from Walsh. I don't know that this is going to be his best lap. Now 3/10 off and into the pits he heads.
He's inside the top 10, and like I said, it's pretty stacked middle field here, so it's going to be a fun race.
It is going to be a fun race as we take a look. Brandon Walrath going to lead us out today in the number 45 car, with share row 1 with Bob Charlton. Gian Cardoso and Burke Beat going to share row 2. Alex Martin, Josie Austin in row 3. Jace Wright, Edward Walsh, row 4. Kenny O'Connor and Justin Sacombe getting himself into the top 10 with a 157.027. Hopkins and Allard in row 6. Tomazic and Floomp in row 7. Jonendijk and Hepburn in row 8. Steven Music, and Michael Zwanenberg, row 9. Your boy Blue and Chief Blaze side by side Bentleys to start this race in row 10. Chai Kuba, Frank Reynolds, the Warthog himself, row 11, with Michael Kazubski and Terrell Seens Taylor in row 12 as we wait for today's race to kick off at Paul Ricard. Again, folks, don't forget, 30-minute race right now, and then we will be jumping over to our Pro and Silver class race for 45 minutes right after the conclusion of this one. So stick around. Don't go anywhere. Lots of action to be had here at Box 3 Motorsports today. And my name is Adam Thursby. I'm joined by Philip Welp Cakes Milwee, the man, the myth, the legend himself, the professor as they call him, the man with the stats.
I mean, I have stats. The fact that people would call me a professor is kind of like it's like a shot against all professors in the world.
My name is pronounced like Chi, by the way, so I assume Chi Kuba. That is Chi Kuba Diesel TTV in our chat. Thank you, Chi, for letting me know that. I appreciate it, and I apologize for the mispronunciation. I'm just not very good at it.
Tiago in chat saying about like knowing the Nordschleife. That is actually one of the few tracks that I never bothered to learn the corner names.
I think that's TG.
I know the GP circuit, and that's it. Like once you get off the GP circuit, it's like, and now you're on the Nordschleife. Like,
I think that's TG in our chat, by the way. I don't know why he's got a different name today, but I'm pretty sure that's TG, one of our pro class drivers.
Really? I was looking at.
I think so.
I believe that is Mr. Alves, Mr. Tiago.
Oh, okay. I could be wrong. Just if someone says they know the Nordschleife, I automatically assume it's TG.
Yeah, that's Tiago. He's a good dude.
Ah, okay, gotcha. Well, welcome in, Tiago.
So yeah, we've got what are we looking at in terms of grid size after quali?
24 drivers today.
24 drivers. Again, it's a good number for Paul Ricard. Like it's one of those tracks that it's one of the few tracks in ACC that is designed to support like the big grids. In fact, I'll look it up real quick on ACC Wiki Info if anybody is ever looking for like details about the game and stuff. That's the site that I go to get like information about ACC in particular.
Well, given it's almost a 2-minute lap, I'd have to assume it could support a big grid, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, and it looks like Paul Ricard, just base grid slots, we're dealing with 33, but it can go up to 60 on the if you double the grid spaces, basically.
I believe in the game Suzuka's the largest, right?
Suzuka is one of the largest. Let's look at the big grid count. Yeah, 105 is what it can support. Yeah. Spa 82, Circuit of the Americas 70. Yeah, it's one of the ones that's over 50. But 33 normal grid slots. It's a good track. Like I said, I know it gets a lot of hate, but it like when you're not paying attention to just cars going down the Mistral Straight, sectors 1 and sector 3 can really make competitive racing. Because one of the things people is a common complaint is people will talk about how it's a challenging track, you can't get into a flow, things like that. Mm-hmm. Like my gag is like I love watching people race at Paul Ricard because I love watching an entire grid of people not know what the racing line is in sector 3. Everybody is doing something different. It's like a Jackson Pollock painting in sector 3 if you look at a track map.
Wow. Everybody rolling their own way, huh?
Yeah, but I mean that's the thing. If you can get into the groove, if you understand the characteristics of your car, you can find a line that works for you. And then it's just about like getting out there and racing people. You know, trying to find your way around, trying to mix things up, pressure people into mistakes, defend where necessary. But yeah, I think it's a good track to watch racing at.
Well, we are going to take a watch today, that's for sure, as we see all 24 drivers there during our warm-up lap. Race time of 10:30 in the morning. It is 21 Celsius ambient, a track temperature of 25 degrees, currently clear. I don't believe there's any chance of rain today.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything in the weather report. 21 degrees. We're not going to be dealing with like air temp being an issue for tires overheating. It's going to be down to people not really kind of like overusing their mechanical grip as far as maintaining their tire life. So it should be a relatively straightforward race from a tire strategy perspective. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we're gonna have to see, because the thing that will ruin a set of tires around here at Paul Ricard is going off track at Signal Corner or locking up in corners like the DuPont hairpin at the end of the lap. We'll just have to wait and see how people can manage their tire life over the course of this. We're gonna have 2 stints this race.
Absolutely. And real quick, Phil, just so you're aware, your screen you're showing me is focused solely on on G and not up to date. So there we go. Perfect.
Yeah, I got you. Give me a sec.
No, you're good, man. This is new for all of us. On board view.
I'm a
with
technical
Jace
wizard,
Wright.
and I'm not.
You want to go on board with Jace Wright during the warm-up lap? Okay. Never let it be said we didn't give the people what they wanted, Mr. One Nut. You're not even going to get a full lap, though, because we got to catch the front of the race. So. Lap one. I can't do an onboard lap 1. You're killing me, Smalls. I can't do an onboard lap 1. We're going to miss all the action. Killing me. These guys in the chat. We come into Sector 3. Long tracks make for long warm-up laps, that's for sure, but our drivers will be dropping into double file here in just a moment.
I'm really looking forward to this race getting started. Season 5 looks like it's going to be a real banger. Getting to broadcast 2 races on a Sunday is also exciting. So.
Oh yeah, the fun doesn't stop after 1. We keep it going around here.
So now the drivers are probably going to be getting into file as they go down the start-finish straightaway.
We'll actually get to hear him yell green this time because I haven't adjusted things properly. And there it is. Green light at Paul Ricard. Brandon Walworth leads the charge down the straight into T1. Bob Charlton right there on the outside. Got some nudging back in the back. A little door banging. Few people missing some break points, but overall relatively clean. Nothing too horrible through T1. We're going 3 wide a little further back. As Brandon Walworth runs with it. Gian Cardoso up into second, getting around Bob Charlton. Contact between Alex Martin and Jace Wright a little further back.
Yeah, it looks like there was a little bit of door banging in turn 1, which is pretty common. Paul Ricard being a wide circuit, it's not uncommon, especially at the start of the race, to see 3 wide, sometimes even 4 wide in some of these corners. But it looked like everybody kept the car going in the same direction, which is a good sign.
Absolutely, yeah. It didn't look like we had anything major there, just a little bit of nudging.
We got the train
flying across.
We got the train already started going down the Mistral Straight that you got the camera on. That is an amazing shot, by the way.
Jace Wright just running Alex Martin right down. But we got to jump back up front because Brandon Walworth, as fast as he was in qual, is not able to keep Gian Cardoso at arm's length. Now backing off just a little bit as Charlton swings out wide. As Alex Martin swings out wide. Jace Wright gets the opportunity up the inside. Martin out over the blue lines, and that's going to cost him as the 137 car of Josie Austin looks for an opportunity to get around Martin now.
Yeah, Sector 3, again, this is the area of the track that is really challenging when it comes to battling on track.
And Alex Martin getting spun by Josie Austin. Austin backing down, though, as well. I can't get on it. Yeah, Austin spun out as well. Right there. So that's going to open up for a bunch of drivers to move up. Justin Sacombe suddenly finds himself in P5. It looks like Walsh and Jonendijk made contact. But both cars still pointed the right way down the track.
Really competitive first lap. Going into the second lap, cars still kind of bunched together and fighting pretty hard in turn 1.
Yeah, Walsh leading Hopkins right here. Take a check on Steven Tomazik. Brandon Walworth continuing to lead. Now Cardoso about 2 seconds back off of our race leader.
Waiting to see the big brain NSX, what it can do down the straightaway. Got an NSX train going here.
All right, yeah, Eric Allard. He's trying to use that slip, and it does. Able to make a play on Tomazic.
He doesn't really have a huge, like, I was expecting to see him like pull further away from Tomazic, but again, it was strange. So it looks like he might be running a little bit more drag than Tomazic. So
it looked like once he left the slip, it kind of backed him down, and he wasn't able to hold on to it.
So definitely the case that Tomazic's running a little bit lower drag than Allard in the Honda battle continues.
Keeping an eye up front, Walrath continuing to open the gap, but now Bob Charlton up into P2. Gian Cardoso is now in third, so a swap there as Bob Charlton clocks our fastest lap of the race so far with a 1:57.545. Check in on Walsh and Hopkins. The gap's starting to open up just a little bit there. Chief Blaze looking to chase down Jester Floomp. Weighs in that number 421 Bentley.
Walrath holding the fastest lap right now with the 56.392, so really pumping in some quick ones. Sector 1, Sector 3, no surprise, BMW, very strong. Charlton running a little bit lower drag setup. I think Sector 2 time, he's got about 3/10 on Walrath, but overall, Walrath is making the gains in Sector 1 and Sector 3 for sure.
Walsh now looking to use that draft and get ahead of Beat. And able to complete that pass on that straight. Going to take up P6 with that. Cardoso and Jace Wright coming to a head in Sector 3.
Something I did not expect, and I'm sure like Tiago in chat will agree with me on this, but the speed trap, the overall max right now, held by an M4. 282 kilometers per hour.
Wow. Right now, Burke Beat going to lead out Bruce Hopkins and Tristan Yonendijk. We get a little pileup going here. Showing best lap on Sacombe now, sitting in P5 with a 1:56.665.
Also in the M4.
Obviously, BMW drivers having some success today.
Yeah.
4 of the top 5. Cardoso, the only McLaren up there.
Cardoso is doing strong in the McLaren around here. That is something I was not expecting at all. Was McLaren's to perform well around here.
And looking in the chat, Cardoso is on a controller coming from Xbox.
Oh yeah, there are some people that can do like insane lap times on a controller, and I've never understood it.
Your boy Blue able to get around Terrell Seens Taylor now, taking up P16. He starts to open up that gap. Alex Martin now catching up after the push earlier from Josie. Now Josie Austin. Alex Martin looking to move his way back up the field and going to take on Terrell Seens Taylor down the straight.
Seens Taylor takes the inside line going into signal corner. That's the strong line for the defense, but we'll see if he holds up Martin.
Not even a little bit.
Yeah, Martin got the straight line speed with Lexus. It's a beast.
But
I was expecting the Honda to be more competitive here. It looks like they're struggling for pace. They might be running higher drag.
Could be, yeah. But now with this particular move though, and people have probably heard me say this before, but Martin got pushed out in lap 2 of this race, right?
Yep.
If I'm Terrell Seens Taylor, I'm sitting, I qualified in the back. I think he started P24 today. So, overall, not having a bad race up to P18, right? Who's going to complain? But my point being is, if I'm him and I know I've got Alex Martin behind me, am I going to fight that hard for that position for that long, right?
Nah. Your fights with somebody either in front of Martin or behind you. So.
Exactly. I think Martin qualified high enough to not have to worry about it. So, and if I'm Taylor, I'm just at some point going to let him by because I'm not going to want that grief and aggravation. I'd rather fight my race, as you said, than fight somebody who started way ahead of me on track.
Shout out to Bruce Hopkins. You got the camera on him right now in the 488. He's a good dude. Raced with him before. Casted races he's been in.
Oh,
Class
awesome.
act. Trying to fight off an AMG right now, man. That's going to be tough in the 488, but we'll see.
So far, so good for him.
4/10 is it's a small margin 4/10, but if he can just eke out a little bit more of a gap in sector 1, sector 3, it'll be to his advantage. Because right now, having the AMG within like 7-8 tenths, it's gonna be not good because the AMG will out drag a Ferrari most of the time. There's people that can run low drag setups and get good lap times. I'm not one of them. The low drag setup is basically like an introduction to the wall at high speed.
Alex Martin now continuing to make moves up into P16, getting around your boy Blue. Jester Fluke moves ahead of Kenny O'Connor to take up P12.
I'm actually surprised to see there is only 2 Aston Martins in the field. I would. That's one of the cars that like kind of closer to the top in the meta right now. Not the top 2, but definitely fighting in that group. Oh, we got an NSX off track. The big brain NSX, in fact.
Whoa. As we see somebody already heading into the pits, that's going to be Tristan Jonendijk, in the number 69 car heading in. Well, only 10 minutes gone. He's going to be looking for that undercut, or felt he needed the pit stop for a reason. We'll see how long he's in there. Stefan Music and Steven Tomazik starting to come together now. That gap closing. Tomazik wanting to get that P12, see if he can get himself back into the top 10.
So Walrath and Charlton bouncing back and forth with fastest laps. Charlton just popped into the 55s, 55.945 for race pace. That's really strong. So Charlton really has some good pace. I'm going to be very interested to see if he's going to start closing that gap to Walrath.
Well, it appears as though he already has. That gap was close to 3 seconds, if not a little over. Now down to 2.5, 2.3. I want to see if that continues. But Walrath as well, still pulling a ton of pace, right? Within a tenth of a second.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hard, I think, for Charlton to close that gap. We'll see what the pit stops do to these guys and what kind of strategy they use when it comes to it. Chester Fluke now under pressure from Kenny O'Connor.
Kenny wants to hang as much as he can in Sector 3 with the Aston Martin. He does not want him to get too far ahead when he gets to that start-finish straight, because that's when the Aston can kind of like stretch its legs and start to pull away. So it's critical for Kenny to just stay on the bumper, although looks like Fluke got a little bit of the curbing on the exit of the DuPont hairpin, which probably compromised his exit, but he's already got such a gap on Kenny O'Connor, almost a second now.
Yeah, no opportunity to draft off of him there. As these guys head into Sector 1. Bruce Hopkins going to continue to hold on to P7 now. And Burke beat.
I'm going to hop on mute and go take a look at these pit stops that we've seen so far. I kind of want to get an idea of how long people are taking.
Yeah, we can take a look here. Let's see. Tristan Jonendijk, like 34 in and out and 35 sitting. Frank Reynolds, 36 in the pits. Michael Zwanenberg, Josie Austin, and Robert Hepburn. I'm sorry. Zwanenberg and Austin both with some longer pit stops, so some damage there. obviously. And Robert Hepburn with a 32-second pit stop.
So I'm seeing a minute and 8 for double check that. Oh, Frank Reynolds, line to line, 1 minute 8 seconds.
Yep.
So I'm kind of using that right now as kind of the factor for trying to figure out like where people are at. So when I'm looking at Terrell in the 117, I'm trying to see if he's gonna. Well, he's in there for a while now. He might be getting some repairs done, but I'm gonna use 1 minute 8 from line to line as kind of like my canary in the coal mine to figure out how people are doing.
Taylor 42.7 in the pit box. As you said, Walrath and Charlton continue to trade best laps. Walrath now setting a 155.522 on lap 7.
That gap did open back up.
It did, yeah, way up. As Cardoso and Sacombe both head into the pits. Eric Allard heading in. Jester Flump. A lot of drivers now starting to head in just before the halfway point of our race here.
Yeah, right now it looks like the battle for the last step of the podium looks like it could shape up to be something, because we did have Cardoso firmly in the third place spot, but Sacombe has got some real good pace in the M4 around here. So we'll see how.
Moved up quite a bit.
Yep.
You know, Justin, let's take a look. He's in the pits now. Down 5 positions though on today's race, but that's with the pit stops. That's where the position markers don't do us a lot of good until all the pits are clear. But yeah, the gap between Walrath and Charlton a lot wider than it was even earlier in the race. Now at about 5 seconds. Ace right up into third. Let me see something here real quick. So
yeah, Cardoso a minute 6.815 in the pits. It looks like Justin is going to lose out big time in the pit stops. Minute 12.
Yep,
leaving 6 seconds on the table is going to cost Justin big time in this fight with Cardoso. So he's going to have to really put his nose to the grindstone if he's going to try and make up that difference.
Well, taking a look at the predictions plot, the software today is predicting that Brandon Walrath will be today's race winner. Charlton and that Jace Wright will finish in P3. We'll see if that sticks. And that's knowing that they all need to make a pit stop yet.
Yeah, I mean, there's 4/10 advantage right now to Walrath on the average for the stint. Walrath in the pits right now. So it's going to be interesting to see if... Well, he should be able to do a good reset because he's going to go in, he's going to get fuel, he's going to get tires. So he'll be kind of like, you know, fresh as a daisy when he comes out of the pits. And we've got Charlton going to try and hit him with the overcut. Which is tough because I mean he's already like 4 or 5 tenths off of Walrath's pace, so he's really gonna have to push. Maybe he goes late. Maybe the overcut is the answer. Get on light fuel, fresh tires, and really start cranking out some fast lap times.
Your boy Blue, Alex Martin, Steven Music, Steven Tomaszak, Bruce Hopkins, Brandon Walrath, all in the pits currently.
Yeah,
they're in those
there's
stops.
a gag on the pits.
Everybody looking to come in at about the same time. Meanwhile, Charlton, Jace Wright, Edward Walsh, RK beat Kenny O'Connor, along with Brandon Walrath coming out now. The top 5 right now still needing to go into the pits. As I said, predictions still showing. Actually, predictions have changed up now, showing Bob Charlton as today's race winner. We'll see if that sticks. I'm trying to use this prediction software a little more in here and this season and see how accurate it is throughout the course of the race. Takes pit stops and all that into
a minute 6.1 for Walrath in the pits. So really quick pit stop for him, in and out, no fuss, back out on track. Looking at the track map, it looks like also just now going down the Mistral Straight. So he's got clear air. Clear air in front, clear air behind.
Charlton?
I know Walrath.
Oh, Walrath. Okay, sorry.
Walrath's got some clear air. So seeing Jace Wright go to the pits now.
Yep, and he goes. Edward Walsh now moving up into second with that. RK beat into the pits as well.
Yeah, Walrath was the top AM, qualified on pole, and then you got Walrath and O'Connor um, behind him. So, kind of interested to see how the AM shakes out.
Right now, this late in the race, only a little under 12 minutes left to go. We have a top 5 with 3 AM drivers in it right now.
Yeah,
That's a little different.
AM's been strong around here. Walrath in the M4 is apparently going to be a force to be reckoned with. So people are going to have to definitely figure out how to crack that puzzle.
Yep, I take that back though. Now we have 3 in the top 5. I was looking at it wrong. Kenny O'Connor, Walrath, and Jace Wright. Jace Wright in the pits. Walrath back up into P4 right now.
That is something that has been good to see. Haven't seen a whole lot of drama with pit entry and pit exit. Paul Ricard is notorious. That pit exit dumping you straight out on what is effectively the racing line.
Yeah.
Going into turn 1. So it can get a little dodgy.
Burke beat now in the pits. They're in that stop. So now only our top 3, Charlton Walsh and Kenny O'Connor, are only 3 drivers to not clear pit stop at this point. And Kenny O'Connor, one of our AM drivers, currently sitting on a podium if he can hold on to it. But with that pit stop not clear, I think that's going to be a struggle. I think we're going to see Walrath back at the top. If I look at these gaps right now, I mean, Charlton's 9 seconds up on Walsh. You got another 16 seconds back to O'Connor, and then 32 seconds back to Walrath. That's not a minute 6. That doesn't track to a minute 6. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, really think we see Walrath getting back on the top of this.
Yeah.
That is what predictions are calling for right now. Our top 3 waiting until the last possible moment to hit that pit stop. Oh, and Bruce Hopkins struggling, losing 2 positions, back now to top 10. As Fluke goes around pushing him out of the top 10. He can hold on to it. So Bruce Hopkins getting knocked back a little bit, struggling, and finding himself outside the top 10 now, going into the last 9 minutes of today's race.
Yeah, we're in the home stretch. It is very much a sprint. Still got a few mandatory pit stops to pull, but by and large.
Blue Wolf saying disconnected. We did lose a driver.
Yeah, we did drop to 23
on
the grid.
Now Hopkins struggling with Eric Allard. Hopkins is struggling a little bit right now. He had a great first half of this race and now seems to be slowing up a little bit as Bob Charlton heads into the pits. Edward Walsh will take up P1.
Yeah, it could be tricky. I mean, minute 9 on the pit stop for Hopkins. Maybe he got his pressures wrong on the second set.
Yeah.
Not really sure. But yeah, he's bleeding pace. So
he is. It just seems like slower overall, you know, completely in general, but then also to give up positions, he's struggling to fight it.
Got Charlton in the pits.
Yep, Charlton and Kenny O'Connor both in the pits now. Charlton should be heading back out here momentarily.
Charlton's got to hit it. He's got to hit a minute 6. He can't leave any time on the table in pit stops.
I don't think he's gonna make it.
Yeah.
And he's out now. Yeah, that.
He lost about a second, so about a minute 7, so not quite a full second to Walrath. But when you're already like, well, actually, And I'm looking at Walrath's times. Walrath's average lap times of 55.9 in his second stint so far. Like he is traveling through space and time right now.
Yes, he is. Kenny O'Connor with a long pit stop, knocking him out of the top 10 as Walrath takes up P2, but Edward Walsh up front, no pit stop as of yet, so Walrath's going to be able to take up P1. He's about 45 seconds off that pace. Charlton now 13 seconds back from Walrath.
Yeah, so O'Connor losing about 4 seconds. Could have been like displacement of the car into the pit stall. Walsh going into the pits now. Minute 11.252 for O'Connor, so a slow pit stop by and large.
Gotcha. Yeah, he definitely lost a bit of time there. I think the biggest disappointment today, if you know, as we talk about the races and what you see that you like and what you don't like, Alex Martin and Josie Austin. It was a great battle, and I think it was just a momentary lapse and a mistake, but ended up costing both of them and putting them both outside the top 10. It was really, or outside the top 15. Really a shame, though, because they were having a great battle up until that happened through Sector 3. Hopefully they're
watching,
back next week.
I was going to comment watching your stream back right now. Tomazic going super wide in Signal Corner. That's exactly what I was talking about at the beginning of the stream, about dealing with the aero wash. Going down straight, having that draft is really beneficial for hitting like insane top speeds. Then you get to Signal Corner, and now the car is going to understeer because you got a car in front of you that's removing all your downforce effectively.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, I'm surprised we haven't seen any penalties today because of coming out of that corner so fast. I mean, I know it's got very liberal track limits, right? I understand that, but there's been a couple times we've seen some cars coming out of Signal Corner that would just, wow, like you just decided to use the entire parking lot to make that turn. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, it's a third. It's a shorter race, so maybe you got one or two drivers that are sitting on 3 warnings. You probably got more of the field sitting on maybe like 1 or 2.
Yeah. Yep.
But hopefully we don't see a DT, because that's a take a trip to the back of the grid.
Yep, 100% with as close as this race is.
Yep, AM driver is leading Walrath. Currently 13 seconds ahead of Charlton. Like just driving the doors off that car.
Whoa, and there's a wide one as he goes around the back marker. That number 456 Ferrari getting way out of the way of car's definite music. And we're back to 24 drivers, so it looks like music got back in.
Yeah.
And yeah, I hate you 92 in the chat says AM driver leading and by 13 seconds. Ow.
Still got a few close battles to finish this race out. Jace Wright, Justin Secombe, Jace Wright and Cardosa.
Yep.
And then you've got the battle between Hopkins and Allard.
That's where we're focused now, taking a look. See if Eric Allard is able to make a move here before the end of this. Just 3.5 minutes left to go. Yeah, we did quality lap time, so we'll have to see. I hate, because you never know. We've seen this before where an AM driver comes in and they've qualified AM fair and square. No sandbagging, anything like that, as we get a nice little group going here for P7. Tristan Jonendijk, Steven Tomazic, and Jester Flump. Jonendijk trying to hold on here to P7.
It's going to be tough to drag race that Honda down the start-finish straight.
It is.
He's got the inside line going in turn 1.
And Flump. Oh, and Flump goes wide looking to take it from Tomazic. Just was not able to hold on, though. Jonendijk's got to be happy. Gives a little bit of breathing room. Hopkins and Allard coming back together. This gets tight again. You know what can happen with someone like Walrath is they did a great qual, they did their pace, no sandbagging, anything like that, and then there's just a track out there that they just get it. We've seen that in the past with how we do our qualifying, so it wouldn't surprise me. I think what'll typically happen is we'll go a second race. If Walrath comes out and dominates again as an AM driver, he probably gets moved to Pro-Am. at some point, but that's up for the league managers to decide.
Yeah, the other thing about Paul Ricard that can be pretty tricky. Steven's pulling the ripcord. Unfortunately,
yeah. That's too bad.
Sad to
man.
see. But Paul Ricard is one of those tracks where if you know it and you can drive it, you can make up so much time relative to the field.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like if you know, it could just be one of those tracks that, for whatever reason, Walrath just gets it and he comes back next week and ends up in 15th for all we know. I mean, if we talk about last season, I really thought Blue was going to just dominate. He was doing really well. Speaking of Blue, Alex Martin closing the gap on him right now as we come down to these final laps. But I really thought, and Edward Walsh just dropped Justin Sacombe back up into 5th now if he can hold on to it. Blue he started last season doing really well and then all of a sudden fell off. Just the consistency wasn't quite there. And so I really thought, you know, we would see Blue, and he is a Pro-Am driver, but I thought we were going to see more consistency from him and just wasn't able to hold on to it. It was one of those things. He wasn't a driver you thought you would see on podium right away, but there he was, and he was doing very well last season.
Let me tell you, Walsh right now is not letting Justin off the hook. Like, Justin got P5, but Walsh is going to hang with him, and they're about to hit the Mistral Straight. And the thing is that the McLaren is not necessarily a bullet in a straight line, but the thing is, it definitely can get easier to keep up when you got an M4, which is a brick. It is a driving brick. It generates so much draft. And you can kind of see it right now. McLaren just zipped straight on past.
Shot around him. Edward Walsh taking P5 back from Justin Sacombe. Let's keep an eye on.
That's kind of what I expected to see. Yeah, I expected to see that more from the M4s, but it's not the same at the front of the field, apparently.
Sacombe taking it right back from him there. As we get ourselves a battle here at the end of the race. Walrath leading out over Bob Charlton. The problem is...
It does look like you're... Oh, sorry.
Nope, I was going to say we've got a battle for P3 up here too. Cardoso just holding on over Jace Wright. Now opening it up a little bit. Looks like Cardoso will hold on to that position and get podium today. There it is. Brandon Walrath, your winner.
Man, what a race from him.
At Paul Ricard.
Absolutely put on a show.
He really did. Absolutely. Justin Sacombe going to hold on to 5th place over Edward Walsh. We saw them battle right here at the end. Jump further back, your boy Blue and Alex Martin fighting now.
And what a good start.
I think a really great... I mean, look, we saw one KG incident between Martin and Austin. It happens every race, right? Accidents happen. Again, it really looked like an honest mistake there. Nothing that anybody could have done differently about it. Excuse me. Beyond that, I think we had this was super clean racing today. A little door banging up front, but Rubbin's racing, right? And I think we had these guys put on a really good show today.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how the post-race review goes, just to see if there's any like big shifts in terms of time penalties or anything like that. But for everybody up and down the field, I thought it was a really good show.
Absolutely. And Josie Austin takes up P18 over Frank Reynolds just as they cross the line. Excellent today. Terrell Cease Taylor yet to finish. Chi Kuba coming across here soon. But everyone relatively well spread out.
I do like the livery on Josie's car. Like it's a pretty M4. So
yeah. Those colors blend well. I like that. If you want liveries, this is the place to come because we got a bunch of them that just do some great liveries at Box 3. You're looking for something fancy. And there you have it, folks. That is your Am and Pro-Am class race today. But listen, like I said, don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. And no, I'm going to switch this back. I will tell you this. I know you guys don't want to look at my stupid face. Phil and I worked together for about an hour before the race today, and we could not, for any reason, get it to work. Couldn't get his camera pulled up. So we're going to work on that so that you guys can look at Phil instead of me. Well, you'll look at both of us, but at least my picture will be smaller. So let's get jumped over to the Pro and Silver class racing and see what we can do here. We're going to get online. We're going to get things opened up and get ready. So as we said earlier, we will come to this already connected. Or already started, I should say. It looks like we are still in... we're just finishing out, actually. I believe what will be the practice session. 26 drivers here today for Pro and Silver Class Racing.
Now that's what I'm talking about. Jay Wells, silver category, a 54.9 at the top of free practice.
There you go.
I got to race with Mr. Wells and Eric Cassian last year at the finale of the Box 3 Tracklicious 949 Endurance Series at Bathurst, and it was a lot of fun.
Let's take a look real quick because I can't go to drive yet because the session has ended. We're going into the qualification here in a moment. But as you said, Jay Wells, look at the sector spread though. I love it when we see multiple drivers all holding different sectors. Wells with sector 1, Aguilar there in sector 2, and Ricard just taking sector 3 in the McLaren 720S today. So
Amaka on top.
Right?
Man. This is wild, and the folks that are in this grid, man, I'm just very excited. I'm ready to see what Team Anderson does in the Maka as well.
Oh man, Anderson? We don't talk about Anderson.
We don't talk about Anderson?
Nah, we don't talk about Anderson.
But got some really good drivers in this field, and Aguilar in the GTR put in second in free practice. Man, that's some skill. We got some other good names in here. We got Mike Burkhoff in here in the Fezza. And look at Dunn in the Bentley.
Dunn in the Bentley. All right. A lot of returners. Nikolai Tsiabuk returns to us this season. Gasolina is back. Kornikov, Charlie Booth, John Tracy, all returning to us for season 5. And we'll talk about him. And Mr. Anderson in the number 16. Bridian Lloyd Davis is back this season. A lot of more returning drivers this season. You're going to see the name on your screen. I refuse to say it just because he wanted me to say it. That is Daniel Pickett in the number 92 car. Don't let him fool you. Daniel Pickett
running the Lexus
returning
this season.
He is.
Wow.
Taking out traffic cones already. Paul Morris back. Is Paul still in the Jag? No. Paul Morris moving over to the Porsche this season.
Now that's a wild livery.
Isn't it though? Look at that. Holy cow. Now there's a new driver. We already Rombouts in the Honda. So a new driver there. Nathan Edwards, I believe, might be a new driver this season. But again, a lot of returning drivers. Adam Willey is back on track. Look at the stars and stripes on that thing. Rick Pixel back at it. Tobias Gable back in the Audi again in that Esper.
There you go.
Orange
There's
Audi.
your Audi.
I told you. I knew we'd have Audis. I knew we'd have Audis in the Pro class.
Yeah.
Bring that up real quick. Take a look. Nick Paquin, Tobias Gable, Josh Harrison, Delilah Hazel back in the Audi. We watched her last season dominate the silver class. And Timothy Glendenning going to run the Audi as well. So a lot of Audis on track today.
It's a strong car. I mean, for people that can run it and can keep from like losing control of it in the medium and high speed corners, like it's a quick car.
I like the Audi. I've always liked the Audi. Audi's my main. It's just one, it's a skill issue, and two, I was told, well, it's a mid-engine. You should probably not want to do that. Just, learning. I'm like, nah, whatever. I don't need to be fast. I'm just here to have fun. Alejandro Aguilar showing purple right now, 7/10 up. Wait for it here.
Yeah, we're going to get more representative lap times from Aguilar now that he's on his first flyer.
Yep.
Gasolina is quick, man. He's in the M4. I'm interested to see what Gasolina can do in the M4 this season.
Gasolina's a speedy boy, that's for sure.
Yep. Got to race against him in the last season of the Box 3 Tracklicious 949 Endurance event as well. Real quick driver. I think he soloed Bathurst.
I believe so, yeah, and consistent too. Consistent,
man,
consistent,
so
consistent.
good. Yeah. Such a good driver. was awesome to share the grid with him.
Just keeping an eye on Aguilar here, since it looks like he may be one of the first to come across with our first real lap of the race.
That's a bonkers livery too.
It is. Looks like something Alex Martin did. And there it is, a 155.277 out the gate from Alejandro Aguilar.
It's a statement. I'm
Number
waiting to see if
133.
I'm waiting to see if Wells can pump in another 54. Charlie Booth getting in there with a 55.1.
Charlie
getting
Booth.
close.
You know how they got him up there, right?
How's that?
They hung a, you know how you got a horse, you hang or a donkey, you hang a carrot on a stick out in front of him to get him to move for you?
I see.
They did that. They did that with Booth, but with a sheep. John Tracy in our first 154 today, 154.747, 747 being applicable because he is flying around this track. No livery from him, and look at that, Delilah Hazel, a 154.642. The purple laps just keep rolling in. John Tracy now showing purple, though, up about 0.3 and dropped it off. All right, well,
54.6, man. Jeez.
I don't know if you want to set yours up to drive, sir. I'm going to step away for a few minutes.
Sure.
And put it all on you. We will switch to the to the Whelp Cakes cam for a little bit.
Yep. Got a nice Dash Pro look from Mr. Anderson.
There you go.
Exiting DuPont in a very sketchy way.
Hazel doing Scandi flicks at 250 kilometers per hour, Nycor says. Hazel got spry, even faster. Now, Phil, you weren't here for the beginning of season 4 last year. I don't know if you were watching the races or not, or if you would remember.
Yep.
I said it during recovery drive this past week. Hazel is one of my favorite drivers to watch right now because the first three races of season 4, we had some trouble in the pro and silver class races. And by trouble, I mean people drove like dinks and piled up in turn 1, right? But what that allowed was we got an opportunity to watch Hazel just run the course on these tracks. And so it's so fun to watch because you want to talk, I mean, we talked about, who did we talk about? Gasolina earlier, so consistent, very, very quick, right? Hazel had a way of catching up to people at just the right time, right? Because she would get there and suddenly the opportunity was just there to make the pass and she was and gone just that quick. It's a lot of fun to watch. So I put a lot of focus on Hazel because what can I say? Hazel's fun to watch. It's good racing.
I tell you what's a lot of fun to watch right now. Anderson is chucking this Maka around Paul Ricard going into sector 3 right now. 1.3 up on his previous best. Has yet to set a time to the regs. This is an area where the Maka should be strong inside sector 3. The aero of the McLaren's usually pretty good.
Okay.
And Huff said Anderson's got a 54 in him, so we're gonna hang that on Huff.
All right.
So into the DuPont hairpin now, down the start finish straightaway. Currently 1.7 up. He is.
Where's it taking him?
Yep. Going 5th fastest. 54.9. Huff delivers. Huff delivers.
Hey, there's
folks.
one thing Huff usually will deliver. So already getting pushed down a little bit. Gasolina up into 3rd, but look at that 154.88 from Gasolina. But with that, sir, I am going to take a quick step away. You're in charge till I get back. Keep an eye on the monkeys in the chat. Especially if Charlie Booth shows up back up in there. Keep an eye out for him. Be right back, folks.
So we're going to switch over to the broadcast settings in ACC real quick because I'm looking at John Tracy right now, who's 2/10 up in the 343. Another M4, Island Boys, blasting down the start finish straight away. Gonna try and punch in a time, maybe see if he. Yep, look at him, goes straight to the top. 54.602 for Mr. John Tracy. He's gonna pull off, go into the pits, probably take stock of how people are getting about. Lewis Ricard in the 97 currently 3/10 down. He's in the 97 Maka going into sector 3 right now. Is that Hazel with a 54? Yep, Delilah Hazel, 54.467. Unseats Mr. Tracy. And Ricard really trying to put it together. Within striking distance of top 10, I mean, he only needs 3/10 to get inside the top 10. But I think he's lost it all. He's lost it all. In the meantime, I believe that is Weird Rumbouts in the number 18. 3/10 up. In the Honda, a strong car around here. Getting a little bit of a slipstream from the Porsche in front. Comes across the line second fastest. 0.05 of a second off of Delilah Hazel's time in the number 17 Audi. Good lap from Rumbouts. I'm going to butcher this name in the E-Bosch. We got Nicolay. I believe that is Cybook. In the 951, currently 1.5 seconds off the pace overall, but within striking distance of Mr. Dunn in the 72 Bentley. And to be honest, like he finds like 2 or 3/10, and he's going to be knocking on the door of top 15. So we're going to see if Nicolay can put it all together as he exits the hairpin. Down the start-finish straightaway. Does not improve his time. Oh, it does improve his time, but not his position. So he's gonna have to find a little bit more. Mr. Jarrett Skinner in the Rockefeller. 488. He could take a shot at Tobias. Although it really looks like sector 3 is where a lot of these cars are struggling for pace. Almost everybody is losing their times in sector 3 right now. Mr. Mike Burkhoff in the Conquest Racing Ferrari. .365 off the pace. He's got 2/10. Not going to be enough to really catch up with Pixel, because Pixel's got like a half second. Actually, he just jumped to P19, so it's going to be Wiley if Burkhoff's going to make it stick, and it looks like could not do it. Struggling out on the exit of the penultimate corner. Didn't see what happened. I didn't know if there was like anybody like tangling with anybody on that one. There's Mr. Tobias Gable in the TG Racing Esper Audi. Down the Mistral straight. No real slipstream for him to take advantage of. So he's going to not be hitting those epic lap times that the epic speed trap times that you can see when you got a good slipstream. Going into signal corner now. What a shot. Keeps it on track. Going into sector 3 now, the double right-hander. Just good stuff all around. He's a half second up. Half second will get you places. Oh, and there you go. Just Audi things happening. Little bit of snap. Tried to correct.
Bias Gable whipping it, huh?
Yep, I'm telling you, dude, that's the Audi for you. Like you get like a little bit of liftoff oversteer or something like that, and you start to react, and it's like it's curtains.
Where did Anderson end up? Anderson
P7 right now, so 7/10. Yeah, 7/10 off the pace, but still, that was a really good lap, and you could tell that Anderson was really hustling the car on track. But we got Delilah Hazel and Weard Rumbouts in the top 2 spots right now. Tracy, only a 10th off of. Yeah, so you got Hazel, Rumbouts, Tracy. I mean, look at the spread right now. We got half second to P6, and then from P7, you've got another like 2/10 to get down to P11.
Yeah, this is.
I mean, you got some really nice. You got some tight pockets for this one. I think the Pro Silver is going to be a really good race to watch.
Imagine Molson not having my livery. Imagine you not uploading it properly to. I don't have John Tracy's. I don't have Charlie Booth's. Imagine it not being uploaded properly to Awesome Sim Racing.
I mean, to be fair to everybody involved here, including the people that use Awesome Sim Racing, the ACC livery system is not really cool, in my opinion. But I mean, it is what we got. At least we can do custom liveries. When the game released, people didn't even know you could do it. So.
No, that is a good thing. Matt Comiskey on track. We haven't seen Matt Comiskey. We haven't talked about him yet. Currently sitting 27th. So, he set a 157.9. Comiskey moving up from Pro-Am last year. Now in the silver class. See how he does. But Delilah Hazel just smoking out by 0.3 of a second over. We already Rumbouts in second. Very short times here. Now, again, we talked about, the Pro and Silver class races last season. Really hope that we get some clean out the gate here this season 5, starting off season 5. The Pro and Silver drivers struggled, and I think it's we talked about it during Recovery Drive a little later in the season, or a little earlier in the season of season 4. It's really I believe it's a Dunning-Kruger effect. I think these drivers, some of these drivers, I believe, when they get to the Pro and the Silver level, I think they're better. They think they're better than they actually are. And that's not to say they're not fast, right? But I think a lot of it is, what it is that they think they can send it into every corner. It doesn't matter who's there, right? Where the AM drivers and the Pro-Am drivers, because they're newer, they're not as fast, they take a little bit more time and they don't hammer down, right?
Yeah.
So...
I mean, it's one of those things that, it's interesting always to like speculate on the dynamic that causes pileups and stuff like that. I mean, the first season they did the SRO esports stuff. I got to watch my friend Coasty racing GT4 and just saw a pileup, and I'm talking like over half the field, like 3/4 of the field, just die on the straight out of turn 1 at Bathurst.
Oh, wow.
Out of the straight, going up the mountain, 3/4 of the field gets murdered. Like, it's just, and those are pros from an esports perspective. And I'm like, all it takes is a number of people pushing themselves to the point where they run out of skill, and things happen. Everybody does it. AM drivers probably more likely to do it than the pros, but the pros do it, and all you need is a little bit of hubris to get in trouble.
Mm-hmm. No, and that's what I'm saying. I think there's just this. There's something there. There's something there that causes the Pro and the, at least that's what we saw last season. Now, again, my hope is we're not going to have that this season. Very few new drivers on track today. The names as I look down this list are all people we've seen before. They're all people that have raced with Box 3 before. They're all people that have raced with each other before, other than 1 or 2 names. So that being the case, my hope is really that we're going to see a lot of tight but very clean racing this season, starting right from the beginning.
It'll be. I'm looking forward to it. I like Box 3. I like what you guys have done the past 4 seasons, and getting to work with you guys on the endurance stuff. You guys put on really good racing, and I'm really excited to see how the series pans out. And you got some really fast people in here that are going to be a lot of fun to watch. So
Absolutely.
I'm just looking forward to it. I'm going to take an opportunity right before qualifying and step away.
Absolutely.
And I'll catch up with you guys again when we get to the race start.
Sounds good. We'll be here. So address what we were talking about earlier, folks. If your livery is not showing up, then I can promise you it was not uploaded to Awesome Sim Racing properly. I hate to throw that out there, but there was one driver this morning who I caught on the practice server who couldn't see his livery. Let him know about it, and he went in and fixed it, and guess what? I went back in and it was showing, so he was able to do an update. So it's possible you haven't updated your livery. Oh, there he is, Rose Racing. Yes, I believe you should be all set, sir. Pretty sure I got you all fixed up in there. Like you said, you went and updated it. I went and ran a poll, and we were all set, so good to go. Tobias Gable landing himself in P11 right now. As drivers start to head into the pits. No one's showing right now that they are going to touch Delilah Hazel's time. Wardy Rumbouts is done. John Tracy's still on track, but about 3/10 off pace. Off his best. Whoops, that's not what we wanted. Take a look there. Tobias Gable running about flat, but other than that, everyone running a little behind. So it looks like the start of this race is going to be Delilah Hazel kicking things off. In row one with Wardy Rumbouts as John Tracy heads into the pits. Jake Wells up about a 10th right now. Coffin, if Hazel dominates pro this season, we're going to sign her up for a Box 3 esports team. We're going to put her head to head on track with Brian, 3-time esports legend Canopin, and let him throw down for a little while. Who's really got it? So Jake Wells up 2/10. Tobias Gable running up 2/10. Stephen Dunn up 4. 3 or 4 if they can hold on to it. See if anything changes here at the end. Jake Wells able to jump himself up at least. There we go. Jake Wells jumps into the podium spot, row 2, with that lap of a 154.527, all the way up into 3rd. Tobias Gable still running a little bit ahead if he can hold on to it here, coming down the start-finish straight. Only about a 10th now. And he gets himself into the top 10 for the race start. And that will lock it down and end the session right there. We are ready for 45 minutes. Of racing here at Paul Ricard. Thank you everyone for being here today. Ow, that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. But while we're waiting for the race start here, don't forget this season 5 continues next week at Barcelona. Back for 30 and 45 minutes of racing. January 29th, 6 p.m. UTC start time for AM and Pro Am drivers. And Thursday, if you want to talk about the race, you want to review it, you want to talk with us about it, Recovery Drive Thursdays happens at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Race reviews, we chill, we rig roast, and we talk about what's coming up next. So you'll be able to catch us talking about Barcelona this Thursday at 8 p.m. And if you're more of an endurance fan, one race left in the Trackalicious Box 3 and 949 Sim Racing Endurance Series, GT3 Endurance Series, the sequel. Kyalami taking place yesterday. I haven't even seen results for that yet. Haven't looked myself. But we're here for 12 hours at Mount Panorama. You can catch all that starting at 1 p.m. UTC right here at Box 3 Motorsports. Always a lot of fun. We enjoy our endurance racing here at Box 3, so be sure and come back and join us for that.
And I'm Baxter. How are you doing?
Welcome back. We're good, man. Just reviewing what's coming up here at Box 3 and endurance racing and everything else.
Yep.
We're all set for the start of this race. Delilah Hazel holding on to P1. Going to share row 1 with, we already rumbouts, Jake Wells, John Tracy in row 2, Paul Morris, Charlie Booth in row 3, Gasolina, Jarrett Skinner, row 4. Anthony Anderson and Tobias Gable will share row 5, and that is your top 10. Let me do something here real quick before I forget. Put those pit stops in. Switch things up. Let's keep going down the list. Alejandro Aguilar and Louis Ricard in row 6. Timothy Glendenning, Josh Harrison, we're going to share row 7. Stephen Dunn and Nick Paquin, row 8. Igor Kornikov and Kevin Rivera, row 9. Row 10 will be Rick Pixel and Nikolai Tsiabuk. Keep an eye on Tsiabuk starting in P20. You want to talk about a consistent driver? Got to keep an eye on Tsiabuk. I'm telling you right now. We'll see where he ends up today. Maybe I'm putting my foot in my mouth right at the front. Mike Burkhoff and Mr. Daniel Pickett going to share row 11. Adam Willey, Ridian Lloyd Davis, row 12. Nathan Edwards, Matt Comiskey in row 13. And Rob Keesar going to bring up the back in P27. A little bit more of a grid today. I want to see what happens with Delilah Hazel up front. Does she get the jump into T1 and able to hold this race? The paces up front were all very close. Jake Wells sneaking into the top 3 right at the end of qualifying. But again, I want to see where Delilah goes. Definitely had pace during qual, so we'll see where it lands up today. Retro Cough in the chat. Everyone needs to just send it on T1. We are in the Pro and Silver class race, sir. You may get your wish. I really should take time to shut off the little guy talking. I like it. Well,
20 seconds.
It resets all your settings when you reinstall your computer, so, you know.
Yeah.
And I have crew chief when I race ACC, so I typically don't have that turned on because they just talk over each other.
10 seconds.
Now that is a pretty big field.
It is. That's a nice size grid for the start of season 5. I want to remind all the drivers, keep coming back, please. We like you for the whole season. Not winning a championship is not a reason to not show up. Finish it out. As Delilah Hazel leads us off here in single file around the track. PG, I have your livery. I got your livery, bud. You're all set.
So I want to take a look at the qualifying order here. And we've got a good mix of manufacturers. You got Hazel in the Audi, Rumbouts in the Honda. So 2 really strong cars from the meta up the front. And Mr. Wells putting that Maka up inside the top 3. And we saw that with the Cordoso, right? In the AM, Pro-Am split. Maka's really doing pretty well for people that know how to maximize their potential where the car is strong. And then you got Tracy in the M4. Again, not the fastest car in a straight line around here, but in Sector 1, Sector 3, again, trying to unlock the potential of that car. And then you've got Morris in the 219, a Porsche in the top 5. And Porsche is going to be a struggle bus down the Mistral Straight. It is going to be, you're going to feel like you're driving a Volkswagen.
Well, Morris was a bit of a minor celebrity last season because he decided to drive the Jaguar.
Well, looks like he got himself some practice. Like he's been playing. The Jaguars were the ankle weights. Like he's playing with ankle weights, and now he's decided to take it seriously. Gasolina in the M4, another person that's kind of got the car a little bit out of place in terms of performance. But I'm just really excited to see this good mixture of manufacturers on the grid.
Yeah, no, it's a great mix up front. I like to see it as well. I think, you know, I hate, when was it? Was it 1.8? Or was it right before 1.8? Or no, it was when the M4 came out, right?
Yeah.
That was like I think it was season 3
Shambolic.
for us. It was just like the entire top 10 was nothing but BMWs. And it's like, well, that's not even fun to watch.
They just didn't have the balance of performance on the car, like, correct at all. And, And good on Kunos for getting around to fixing it in pretty short order. Like, I think it was like maybe a month before they ended up patching it. And then, like, between 1.7 and 1.8, like 1.8 landed and the M4 just took a hit like a massive hit. It is pretty much a solid mid-tier car now,
Yeah.
and it's really got nothing else going for it other than that. But we'll see, because I mean, you got a number of M4s in the top 6 right now. We saw in Pro AM and AM that M4 can be strong for people who know how to use it.
Gasolina, our one silver driver, sitting in the top 10. I don't think Gaz wanted to move to silver this year, but I think, or this season, and I think it was a good move. The cars drop, drivers drop into double file now, getting ready to go. No, TJ, it's been there the whole time, bud. Whole time. Yours has been fine. There's a couple others that are not showing, but yours has been fine the whole time, sir.
Now, one of the things that TG could have saw was on my system, I might not have the updated liveries for Box 3.
Oh, gotcha.
So while you stepped away, it could have been that my PC wasn't showing the liveries.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's something I'm going to need to rectify for the next round. But as long as the show PC has the liveries, we're all good, right?
The Delilah Hazel getting ready to lead us out. We are going green at Paul Ricard for Pro and Silver Class Racing. Let's go. And Delilah with a bad jump off the line, already back into third.
Yes.
And now falling to fourth. Wow.
Yeah, the sail was out. It was not pointing the correct direction when lights went green.
Not even a little bit, but we get clean through T1. A little bit of contact back here again, like we saw in that first race. Tobias Gable, Jarrett Skinner coming together, but both cars pointed in the right direction, so more than likely just a little door bang there. Let's get back up front here as John Tracy takes up P2 behind Wayardi Rumbouts. Jake Wells into P3, but Delilah Hazel already applying pressure with Gasolina right there.
Yeah,
let's see how this Audi does up the straight.
Late into Sector 1, as they're getting ready to approach the entry onto the Mistral Straight, cars are jockeying for position, and this is kind of what you see in the latter part of like Sector 1 and the latter part of Sector 3 right before the hairpin. Is the track is really wide for a majority of it, but then you've got these areas where it like narrows down, and then cars are just like jockeying for position all over the place.
Just like now, boy, I'll tell you what, Jake Wells feeling the pressure from both Delilah Hazel and Gasolina. Charlie Booth up into P6 over Jarrett Skinner.
Just following further back in the field, the folks that are entering Sector 3 right now, it's interesting because it's tough early on in the race, and once the field gets stretched out a little bit and people are more kind of like running in single file with one another when they're not fighting for position, it's going to be a little bit easier to follow along with the action, because right now it's a little bit chaotic, but at least people aren't just like running into each other all over the place.
Delilah Hazel not quite able to get the move made on the start-finish straight right there, as cones go flying.
Yeah.
Delilah taking up the inside, but Gasolina sneaking by as well, and maybe going to take both of them. Gasolina making the push up the inside, gets himself up into third with that.
Yeah, Wells just getting gobbled up.
The stack of cars we have right here. Ooh, and a shimmy around the corner from Wells. That's going to hurt him, as Charlie Booth is going to help him apply pressure back there.
I'm actually kind of wondering if Booth and Wells came together a little bit.
I'm showing contact on Wells, but not on Booth, which is odd. But it certainly certainly looks like he could have given him a little tap there. Now Gasolina. These three are coming back together again. Gasolina, now Wells looking to get back ahead.
It's very
Hazel
interesting.
With the outside line.
Look at the draft, how it worked out. Like Gasolina coming around. Wells almost was able to make a move.
Number 92 and number 159 coming together. Now Gasolina opening it up over Delilah Hazel, but further back, Wells now is going to feel pressure from Charlie Booth.
Some good, strong fights right out of the gate.
100%. We already Rumbout's opening up the gap up front over John Tracy to about 1.5 seconds. So not the gap we saw open up during the Ammon Pro-Am race, but Rumbout's holding his own right now.
I mean, we're into our first real flying lap of the race, and Rumbout's pumping in a 54.8 for race pace, so already off to a quick start.
Tobias Gable up into the top 10 now, getting around Paul Morris. And now Morris going to come under pressure from Ricard. Yo, DJ, thank you for the sub, my friend. Much appreciated, sir. Now Gable and Morris coming back together. Morris going to look towards that outside line. Gable with a bit of a shimmy around the corner. A little overcorrection there.
Yeah, everything's looking so good so far. Lots of competition on the field.
Looks like a door bang there between Morris and Gable getting a little punchy with each other.
Yep. Swapping licks.
But Gable coming out the winner in that one, as now Morris will have to contend with Paul Ricard. Paul Ricard. Louis Ricard, thank you, that idiot. And I mean myself.
Looks like the 92 Lexus got shuffled to the back pretty quickly. Not sure what happened there.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but now Louis Ricard. Oh, and Paul Morris falling back hard. Losing 3 spots just like that.
He's got something wrong. The front end of the car is twitching. Could be he had a moment. Could be how he's got some overheated fronts. Could be he's got some damage. I don't know, but it just looked like the way the Porsche was navigating Sector 1, it looked like a handful. And there's some. I'm getting a look at Pickett in the 92, and that Lexus does have some damage.
Yeah, I'd say so. Alejandro Aguilar now, or I'm sorry, Louis Ricard falling back to Aguilar. Coming down the straight. Paul Morris picking up his spot back, 1 spot back from Stephen Dunn, and then goes, oh, and no. Paul Morris not having a good race, loses it coming off the straight into the wall.
That was a shunt. That's kind of what we were talking about.
Okay, did he get punted? I couldn't see.
No.
I mean, so
I didn't see the hit either. I saw the contact with the wall, but that's kind of what I was talking about earlier in the stream, where you get either any kind of contact or any kind of like aero wash, and you can just get sent off at signal corner because you're carrying so much speed in the corner when you're in the draft.
Yeah.
And it can surprise people. And look at that, man. Rombouts 54.627.
Holy cow. Let's see if we'll stick with Paul Morris here just long enough to see if he heads into the pits after a wall tap and everything else.
I mean, he's going to need to go in there probably. If not to fix the damage, he's going to need to get on some new shoes. Yep,
he's heading in now. Well, more than likely his stop. Let's check in with Delilah Hazel. Jake Wells continuing to apply pressure here, has not given up the entire time we've been watching elsewhere. Wells has sat right there. And now
Gasolina.
Caught back up to Gasolina at this point.
Yeah, they're keeping Gasolina honest. But the problem here is Gasolina, as long as Gasolina's in front of Delilah, like, you got Tracy in front now, over 2 seconds away. Like, it's going to be a battle in Sector 1, Sector 3 to close the gap to Tracy so that you can get back into the draft and catch up with him down the Mistral Straight. That's a question for Mr. Molson. So the red placards, those are your silver class, correct?
Yes.
Or the,
Yep.
yeah. So for DJ MGX, so yes, he is silver class. Currently
Yes.
doing quite well.
Like Hazel losing position now to Wells if he can hold on to it. Charlie Booth right there too, as Jake Wells secures it. And now Charlie Booth shooting past Hazel.
Yeah, Hazel wasn't ready. She came back into the draft of Wells as they were getting ready to go into the final corner complex to round the lap out, and I think it caught her off guard.
Now going back and forth across the track. I wonder if Hazel's struggling with something today, not feeling pressures or something.
Not sure. Not sure.
A little bit of back and forth there down the straight. Well, now Jake Wells will lead this pack with Charlie Booth, Delilah Hazel close behind. Jarrett Skinner, currently P7, under pressure from Mr. Anderson.
Got some cars off track. Looks like that's Delilah Hazel.
Yeah, I was just going back there. Charlie Booth, they traded positions again real quick. Happened so fast, it was over. Louis Ricard continues to defend against Timothy Glendinning, the number 2
Mr.
car.
Jake Wells closing that gap down to Gasolina.
Back on the straight we go.
Not quite close enough to make it work.
Anderson coming up behind Skinner again, closing that gap down quickly.
Close battling in sectors 1 and sector 3, kind of what we expected to see.
This group is stacking up again. Gasolina might not be so happy he's in P3 right now, with Jake Wells and Charlie Booth constantly applying pressure here.
Yeah, just looking at the gap chart over the last few laps and pace relative to one another. Both Booth and Wells have a little bit in hand on Gasolina right now. You can't really tell from the average, but from the gap chart, it is very much apparent that Jake Wells and Charlie Booth are catching Gasolina.
Closing it down nice and easy. That's for sure.
Well, the thing is that's interesting about it is Gasolina kind of has the advantage right now in Sector 1. But Sector 2 and Sector 3 is where Gasolina is losing time relative to the 84 and the 46 car. Wells on the inside. And he is shifting inside, outside, trying to find a way.
Gasolina just not able to shake these guys. Wells.
Yeah, Rumbouts is gone right now. 4.3 seconds.
These guys dancing has allowed Hazel to catch back up. We got a 4-car train now going to run through Sector 1.
Well, Tactical, it is a big car. The M4 is surprisingly large for a GT3. Runbouts, I believe, is in the Honda?
Honda, yeah.
Yeah. No shock there. NSX being a boss around Paul Ricard. Gasolina just trying to hang on. And down the Mistral straight, it's going to be tough because he's got 2 cars drafting him. There he goes. He gets set up on the inside line. Let's see what he can do.
Wells taking it. Wells grabbing that coming out of the straight.
Yeah. He was at a disadvantage because when they broke draft, both Booth and Wells decided to follow one another, which kept them both in a draft. Meanwhile, Gasolina's just hung out to dry. Like nothing.
And now
there for him. And look
through the corner, Booth and Hazel both able to get around. So now Gasolina will bring up the rear of the pack. Just like that,
yeah.
Jake Wells finds himself in 3rd.
Yeah.
Charlie Booth with a little contact there. I think Delilah letting him know she is there and not looking to keep behind him.
Threw it up the inside. It's getting spicy.
Extremely, and I love it. Gasolina able to stay ahead of Jarrett Skinner in the back as they go side by side. Delilah Hazel on the outside through T1. But set up for that next corner. Well, Hazel back into P4, but throughout this battle, Jake Wells able to open up to 2.3 seconds ahead of these guys and is now closing down the gap to Tracy.
Yeah, and it's bringing Skinner and Anderson into this.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
So we started last lap with 4 cars. Now we're up to 5 and a push there. Where was that contact? Skinner getting by. Skinner and Gasolina coming together. Bounce it back real quick. Gasolina getting pushed by Skinner. Now with that out of the way, Charlie Booth is going to continue to lead, but Gasolina a second back. Now with Skinner and Anderson right there up the straight.
Man, so just a quick check-in with Mr. Morris in the back. Had a moment in signal corner and went into the wall. Massive pit stop. 1 minute and 41 seconds.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it is.
So lost, I'd say probably upwards of, what is that, 30, 35 seconds?
Yeah, at least.
Somewhere in there.
Yep,
so
that's a long time.
Yeah, that's a hefty repair bill for a short race like this.
Hazel and Booth continuing to battle. We've got Gasolina and Anthony Anderson back for P7 right now. Anderson falling back just a tad.
It does look like we have an early pit stop. It looks like Tobias Gable pulling the trigger with 42 minutes and 15 on the clock. I'm curious. I'm going to watch him in the pit stop because I'm curious if he's got damage.
Kevin Rivera, Igor Kornikov for P13 right now.
So Skinner finding his way around Gasolina, but Anderson now 3/10 back from Gasolina, so still a tight battle. For P7.
And Jake Wells has now closed the gap on John Tracy. And he's got that inside line.
Yep.
Jake Wells takes up P2.
Jake Wells is moving pretty quick now that he's been able to get around Gasolina.
Speaking of Gasolina, Jarrett Skinner. Gasolina closing that gap up. Got pushed by Skinner 2 laps ago. Boy, for a bunch of drivers who don't like the track, these guys are doing real good today.
Like I said, it can provide some really exciting racing. It's just a matter of like having a nice full grid like we've got. Starting with 27 drivers does not hurt. Yeah, it's a good track. I think it's a good track. I think it gets a lot of unjust hate. Real quick on average lap time check-ins. So we got Rombouts is gone. He's running 55.3s. He's just in the wind. Jake Wells, 55.7 for his stint with 10 laps down. And he's starting to pull away from Tracy, Hazel, and Charlie Booth.
Yep.
So
as Anthony Anderson moves himself up into P7, now Skinner going to need to deal with Glendenning right behind him. Or not, as Glendenning falls off the track and lets Lewis Ricard on by.
So Tobias Gable's pit stop, pretty consistent for what we're used to seeing. 106.3. So hits his marks, gets in and out. He's going to try a really long undercut. I mean, that's a long time to sit on a set of tires relative to this field. Not dealing with track temperatures being a big risk, but he is in the Audi. It is, as we've seen, very easy to lose control of that car. So he's really going to want to protect the tires if he's going to be out on track for more than 40 minutes.
Yeah, I'm looking at track temps of 28C today, so shouldn't be too bad temperature-wise on them.
It's a little warm, but it's not in the heat that you really start to notice problems early on. Bentley cycling out of the pits. Also, I haven't seen any drama with pit entry, pit exit. Going to keep fingers crossed, fingers and toes crossed that continues.
I hate. Mr. Pickett is in fact on track today. Yes.
Yep.
The number 92 car, right there. Josh Harrison now and Nick Paquin coming together. Paquin able to shoot around the inside of T1 just like that. No time at all. Oh, and I just scrolled back up and look what we got here. John Tracy now needs to fight off Delilah Hazel.
It's going to be
down
tough.
The straight.
Audi in a straight line is quicker than the M4. So Tracy set himself up in a bad way. He went really far to the inside down the straight, and that gives Delilah Hazel the opportunity to give him the squeeze.
Okay.
But it looks like Delilah really didn't force the issue into signal. She waited, let Tracy overcook it in the signal corner, and then picked him up on the double right-hander. So smart play from Hazel. The thing you want to do going down that Mistral straight is you don't want to give your opponent the opportunity to squeeze you on the inside, because it really compromises your line in the signal corner. You sacrifice so much speed.
Gotcha. Anderson picking up. Boston back and forth with Skinner again.
Yeah, that battle continues. Skinner really putting in work in the Ferrari. I'm kind of interested with the Ferrari drivers, like how many of them are immediately going to jump to the 296 when it releases. We got Glendenning in the pits.
Into the pits. Anthony Anderson continues to feel pressure from Skinner. That's going to continue for a while. John Tracy, looks like Charlie Booth now catching up with John Tracy.
Yep.
As gaps come and they go.
Yep. Ron Bouts, though, 4.6 seconds ahead of Mr. Wells, and then Delilah Hazel 4.1 seconds back. So the top three kind of in a field of their own and kind of not really racing relative to one another right now. We'll have to wait and see how the pit stops go, because that's where you could definitely add some spice.
Charlie Booth able to get around John Tracy, take up P4 now, down the straight. Now we see if Booth with some more clean air can get on pace with Hazel. About a 1.4 second gap right there, so it'll take a little time to find out, but
yep.
With Booth's pace has been pretty close. Looking at these lap times, in fact, a good half a second faster on the last lap than Delilah Hazel.
It's also really interesting. Have not seen that many people dive into the pits early. I mean, if you look at the track map right now, there is a train of cars going down the start-finish straightaway now. Some cars actually diving in the pits right now. So might be getting to that point where people are we're getting close to halfway. So it's about time for people to start pulling the trigger on it.
John Tracy
but I mean,
heading in now.
I mean, you look at car 16 and then look at the train of cars behind car 16. There's just a massive crowd.
Well, yeah, if we look at the gaps here, I mean, you talk about, Anthony Anderson, car 16 in P6 right now. The gaps are all under 3 seconds, back all the way to P14. So,
yeah.
Anderson up 3 spots on the day so far. Nikolai Tsiabuk, I told you to watch out, up 6 spots on the day so far, from P20 to P14 so far. Let's see if that's able to continue. Nikolai, very consistent. Not the fastest driver on the track in Box 3, but I will say again, very consistent driver. He's always very clean. Very rarely gets himself into any trouble. So, welcome in, Forzy. Good to see you. Delilah Hazel now again under pressure. We said earlier, is Charlie Booth going to be able to close the gap and get pace with Hazel? Looks like he's starting to as we come into sector 3.
So just saw the fastest pit stop of the day. Mr. Tracy with a 105.659. Pitted from what was that? P5.
Yep.
That's a quick pit stop. So he can maybe make some time up relative to Delilah and Booth in the pit stops, depending on how well they do. We're getting close to the halfway point. So I'm expecting we're going to see more of the front runners pop into pits here in a minute.
I don't remember who it is. We got one of our drivers, I believe, in the pro class here, who just when you talk about over on the pit stops, the overplay, like literally the last lap.
I mean, the thing is that
Pickett.
there's something to be said.
Mr. Pickett. Now he's already been into the pits today due to damage, but I think it was Pickett a couple seasons back was just like, nah, I'll just wait till the last lap.
Yeah, it's one of those things where the overcut is a strategy and it does work sometimes. The really long overcut is a bit of it's a tough sell for me because you're quick because you're light on fuel, but you're on like really used rubber as opposed to people that, I mean, you've got to pull the pit stop anyway. The only thing you're gaining from the mega overcut is if there's any kind of like incidents in front of you that you can take advantage of while people are in the pits for like repairs and stuff like that. But
gotcha.
I personally think that the long overcut at Paul Ricard is a tough sell for me. I'm here to be proven wrong though. But yeah, I'm just interested to see how it works out inside the top 10 and people start pulling the trigger on pit stops.
Matt Comiskey, currently P15, going to deal with Adam Willey.
So Comiskey got the inside line, and he really should move over and try and get the squeeze on Wiley before they go into signal corner. Left the door open a little too long, in my opinion.
Comiskey's car is my favorite. It's my favorite car on the whole. Oh yeah. Well, the driver initials are just. It's fantastic. I'm sorry, but it is.
But so 1.3 already losing some pace relative to Wiley. Looking through the field, Glendenning starting to hit back. Actually gets around Lewis Ricard. So we're gonna see if the 97 can do something on the inside of signal corner.
Not this lap.
Yeah, again, straight line speed of the Audi is just it's tough. So we do have a gaggle going in the pits. We got Kornikev, Dunn, and Harrison.
Wait to see some of these front runners.
Yeah, no, I am too. I'm kind of interested to figure out like when they're going to pull the trigger. It could be that people are going to do the cover off like real quickly. Like I could see, given the gaps between say Hazel and Booth, that Booth is just waiting for Hazel to pit.
Okay.
And then just going to follow Hazel into the pits. Could be the same with Gasolina and Anderson.
Tops are starting to clear up. Still our top 14, not yet into the pits.
Yep.
Hazel leading Booth on a chase right now. Our closest battle this lap.
In the back half of this race, man, this has been a pretty good one to watch. We've seen some good battles. I'm really interested to see what the second stint has in store for the top 14.
Booth headed into the pits. So Delilah Hazel going to get left alone for a little bit, not have to play defense. We'll see what that does with her gap up to Wells, unless Wells, of course, unless Wells heads in. Gasolina into the pits as well. Anderson.
So I got my eyes on Booth, Gasolina, and Rivera because they all went into the pits at the same time. I'm just gonna keep my eye on them and see what we're looking at for pit stop times. They really need to hit their marks. Can't mess around. Not with this field.
Booth was in first, right? Then Gasolina, and then Rivera behind him. So.
And they were not necessarily fighting relative to one another for position, but what's interesting is when somebody has like a really long pit stop or something like that, you see the effects immediately when they all come out of the pits and they're kind of like orders like swapped around. Looks like Booth's off the jacks.
Yep, Booth is out.
And
Gaz right behind him.
Yeah, he's gonna stay in front of Gaz. Let's see what he's doing with his pit stop time. He's about to cross the control line. And he's gonna clock in at a 107.046. Gasolina coming in with a 105.7. So Gasolina not messing around.
Yeah.
Making up some time.
But now Charlie Booth may be having to deal with Tobias Gable right behind him. About a second and a half. Now I think Booth's got more pace. But if they get hung up in traffic, Gable's a very patient driver.
Yeah.
He will take his time to get where he needs to be. Aquin and Comiskey are both in the pits now.
Tobias Gable relative to Booth, like Booth's got to watch out because Tobias Gable's average lap time on his second stint so far, 55.682.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Booth on his first stint, average lap time 55.912.
Oh wow! So there is.
And he's coming out on cold shoes, so he's got to focus on being conservative. Don't scrub the tires too much. You don't want to get graining, and try and get them up to temperature and try and stay out in front of Tobias. It's going to be tough because Tobias clearly has 310s relative to the data we have right now.
Wells, Aguilar, Skinner, and Tiabook all into the pits. With that, sir, I do need to take a quick step away for a few minutes.
Yep.
We're gonna throw it on. We're gonna throw it on the Phil Milwee race cam. He follows Lewis Ricard. More drivers into the pits. Adam Willey heading in. Jarrett Skinner, Brian Lloyd Davis. So, it's getting cleared now. 26 minutes left to go in today's 45-minute race. And I will be back in about 3 minutes, sir, if you're good to go.
Yep.
And I will sneak back in here once I've sat back down. Be right back.
So we're going to keep the camera on autopilot for a little bit because got some cars moving through lap traffic. But real quick, Jake Wells pit stop a 108.4, so a pretty slow pit stop relative to the field. Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see how that shakes out in the long run because, I mean, that's a slower pit stop that could compromise Wells in comparison to someone like Tracy. Although, actually, I'm looking right now. Tracy, yeah, he's lapping at 55.3s. So he's 3/10. He's 3/10 up on Wells on the average. So he's got some serious potential. Oh, the cake green equals send it, Audi. Delilah Hazel. Again, apologies for not having the liveries loaded. I'll get that solved with Awesome Sim Racing, which is a pretty good tool. Just watching Delilah right now. Let's actually take a look at the track map relative to Delilah right now. So Wells, if you look, actually, let's go to Mr. Wells. So Mr. Jake Wells, just now in Sector 3, you see the 17 car at the start-finish line stopped, still waiting to pop off the jacks. 2.5 between Tracy and Wells right now. That is, on the whole, almost 3 seconds closer than he needed to be. Jake Wells really did not have a good pit stop. We've got Delilah Hazel coming out of the pits right now. Is she going to hit the control line before? We're about to find out. No, she doesn't. Cycles back behind Booth. So Booth made out like a bandit. Let's actually take a look at Hazel's pit stop time. 106.6, so not bad from a pit stop perspective. But stuck back in this battle. Rick Pixel duking it out with Mike Burkhoff. Good fighting all around, man. Rick Pixel currently 2.6 back from Aguilar. Less than 2/10 between Aguilar and, Pixel and Burkhoff. And now Timothy Glendenning in the full send. Trying to pull away from Ricard. Autopilot's really fascinated in this battle for P16. Let's get some more information on pit stops. Anderson in the pits, 106.655. That's a pretty good pit stop from him. So the Maka boys really got to put it together, man, on the pit stops. Wells with a 108.4. Booth with a 107.0. Gasolina goes in the pits with a 105.7. Downside is he had to try and compete with Tobias, who's pretty rapid right now. Looks like Pixel is struggling in Sector 3. Kevin Rivera in the ARL Honda trying to hold off Aguilar in the 133 GTR on the inside line, getting ready to go into turn 1. I think Aguilar's got it. Oh, but he overcooks it. And that gives Rivera
stepping it up.
I know, man. That's a good fight. I thought Aguilar had it. He just pushed a little too hard in T1. So while you were gone, the field compressed a little bit.
I see Rumbout's now into the pits.
Rumbouts into the pits. Wells had a slow pit stop, 108.4.
Oh, wow.
Which basically pulled him into the clutches of a bunch of people he didn't need to be racing.
I see that now.
But
Jake Wells, John Tracy within 2 seconds.
Yep.
So
Yep. He lost 3 seconds just in the pit stop alone to Tracy.
wow.
Hazel had a pretty decent pit stop, but came out almost behind Booth. And Tobias Gable is driving the doors off the 188 right now.
I see that. Tobias up in the 6th right now.
Yep. And if you take a look at their average lap times, I'll pull that up real quick and give you the rundown. Tobias Gable, average lap time during his stint. Actually, I'm waiting for it to update. But so Hazel, during the first stint, 55.975. Tobias Gable, waiting for his numbers to update, 55.690. So almost 0.3 advantage towards Gable.
Wow. But yeah, he's really pushing that today. Now, this is Audi versus Audi if it comes down to it. I mean, it's still a 2.3 second gap there. But this will end up being an Audi versus Audi battle. I'd be curious to see that. I don't think we've seen one of those today.
Yeah, 2.3 seconds with 0.3 advantage to Gable. Like, Hazel's really going to want to step it up because with 19 minutes, 46 seconds left in this race, that's not enough time.
Yeah.
On the table. So definitely going to want to step it up. We're just going to have to wait and see. Glenn Denning, watching off to the side, battle with Ricard in the 97. They're within a half second of each other. It's been a good fight between the Full Send Motorsport Audi and Ricard in the 97 Maka.
Like Delilah Hazel now closing in on Charlie Booth again. And Booth getting within 0.3 on John Tracy down the straight.
Yeah.
So we might be lining this one up again. Booth is ready to look for it. Not quite going to make it this round, but this is going to give Hazel a chance to catch up too as these two battle in front of her.
Yeah. And that's what Wells wants right now. Wells lost a lot of time relative to Tracy in the pit stops, but if they go at it.
Whoa. We're losing rumbouts. I think we lost rumbouts.
Oh, no.
I can't click on him, which means he's gone, just like that. So Jake Wells now taking over. Rumbouts with a disconnect.
Yeah. That's unfortunate.
That
F's in chat for We Are Rumbouts, who is putting on a show.
Absolutely, just killing
for
it.
everyone to see. Definitely not not the result he would want, but at the same time, yeah, he was running away with it. You are not wrong.
That is a shame to see that, especially when someone's winning the race like that. You know what I mean? So.
Yep.
We watch Booth and Hazel here. Hazel no slouch in through T1 and T2. We've watched her make that pass earlier today. Yeah. And now able to get ahead of Charlie Booth, take up P3. With rumbouts out, that puts her on the podium right now, if she can hold that pace. Tobias Gable still about 2.5 seconds back from Charlie Booth now. So not really closing any kind of gap yet. I figured the battle between Hazel and Booth would have slowed them down enough. Maybe we would have seen that close up. So far, Gable not closing it down.
Well, the downside for Gable is Gable had some really, really good pace in his second stint. The problem is he's going to be on these tires for over 40 minutes because he took the mega undercut.
Yeah, I think he was in lap 3 or 4, if that.
Well, no, the race wasn't even 20 minutes in, and he took the undercut. So he's going to be dealing with probably some significant deg, especially with the Audi, because the Audi in signal corner and in sector 3, you're leaning on the front left a lot.
Mm-hmm. Charlie Booth taking it back from Delilah Hazel now coming out of signal. Delilah threw it a little deep and gave opportunity to Booth get back up there on the podium. I have a feeling we're going to be watching this battle for the next 16 and a half minutes.
And that could be down to dirty air going in the signal corner. It could be down to just the car being kind of like out of position on corner entry and overshooting a little bit. So we're going to see what Hazel can do going down the start-finish straightaway. The Audi should be able to close a little bit of this gap down relative to the Maka. This is giving Tracy an opportunity to pull a bit of a gap. Because Booth not really focused on Tracy at all.
Just looking to see real quick if Rumble had made it back on into the server, but I don't see him anywhere. We're just at 26 drivers. So. Right now, Jake Wells leading this race due to a disconnect. Mr. Mark, welcome in for the first time chatter. Thank you for joining us today.
So Hazel closing back down. Again, we hit the Mistral Straight, so this should be the area where we see the Audi start to close down. Although, to be fair to Booth, he does have a bit of a draft from Tracy. It looks like Tracy had a bit of a moment in Sector 1. Not really sure why he lost, upwards of like 1.5 seconds to Booth in this lap alone.
Yeah, really. That gap closed very quickly. And those are the kind of things that's hard to catch, right? You don't see that close down. The next thing you know, Charlie Booth's right there. But Booth going way wide through the corner.
Yeah, that's carrying too much speed.
Yep, way wide and giving Hazel a chance to get alongside.
Yep. Now, he's got the inside line, but the thing is he's going to have a very tight corner entry relative to Hazel. So Hazel should be able to just hang with him.
Gotta keep back a little, we'll keep our eyes a little further back too. Tobias Gable now looks like he's falling under pressure from Gasolina.
Yeah, I did not expect that. Although, once again, we were talking, like he is going to be on those tires for a while. And Gasolina stopped a little bit closer. Well, actually, I think like right over the halfway point.
Yeah.
So, Gasolina's got fresher tires by the order of like 5 laps.
Tobias trying to hold on to that top 10 finish.
Looking at the control tower that you got up there and looking at the gaps relative to the field, and there's a lot of red and orange.
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
Get back here to Gable and Gasolina.
Yeah, that's the thing about Gable and the Audi, man. Not really an aerodynamic powerhouse in comparison to the M4. And he really should have pulled a bigger gap before if he could have. Because Gasolina's got the draft, which will bring the M4 a little bit more, a little bit closer to the Audi. Audi should be skating away, but that close in the draft, it's too powerful.
And it looks like it's going to work for him as he's able to shoot up the inside. Coming through signal. Gasolina will take up E5 here with 13 minutes left to go.
Question in chat for you, sir. Are there mid-season joins?
Mark, if you want to race, you get over to the Discord. Right there, you can see the link right above your question. Get over to the Discord. Head to getting started with Box 3. And put that question out in the Season 5 chat. I have a feeling the answer is yes. But I'm not going to speak for the league managers, but I'm pretty sure you're going to have to do, a little hoop jumping, right? Because we did a qualification session during the holiday break and everything of people going out and driving laps. But we've allowed a few others to join that had not been able to do that because they were on vacation, they were away, they weren't near their rigs and couldn't participate in the quali sessions. They just had to post some laps, hand them over to the league managers so they could see where to class everybody. So yes, you should be able to join without issue. Delilah Hazel and Charlie Booth continuing to fight it out.
So Hazel in front of Booth. So Hazel's going to take a shot at Tracy now. And they just hit the straight, so Hazel should close in on the 343.
Is it going to be enough before we get to the end, though, is the question. And I don't... maybe. She's tightening up pretty quick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. She's got plenty of time. It's all about managing this corner entry into signal, trying to keep Tracy in touch. Don't let them get too far away in sector 3, because that's the thing. The advantage for Hazel is going to be start finish straight away, Mistral straight. That's going to be where the Audi is going to have like superior top end on the M4, especially in the draft. But then you get to sector 3, and then the M4 with its better aero should be able to hold the Audi at bay. In fact, it's given Booth the opportunity to take the fight back to Hazel.
As he looks to shoot right up the inside. Pushing it deep, though.
Look at that, man. Just
he
better aero,
that
dude.
corner. Well, he overshot that. Booth pushed on that corner, though, too.
Well, he didn't have... The problem is that he didn't have a line. Like, Hazel could sacrifice the inside on the penultimate corner, because going into DuPont, she's got the inside line. There's nothing Booth can do about it. So we are Rumbouts in chat giving us a little bit of the heads up that the tire wear at the end of his stint was very bad, which is kind of what we're starting to see with this fight that was between Gasolina and Tobias Gable. Like Gable losing out now in P6.
Gable's not going to have to worry about it anymore, with Gasolina pulling the drive-through penalty.
Ooh, oof. And just like that.
And here we are on the straight. This is where we were waiting to see what Hazel was going to do with this.
So Hazel needs to, so there you go. So that's what Hazel needs to do. Needs to get the squeeze on. Don't let it. Now don't touch. Look, but don't touch.
And now we're going to come down into signal almost 3 wide.
Oh no! And wow! And Booth able to take advantage.
Wow! Charlie Booth up the inside goes around both of them.
And the thing is that all that and these two costing themselves some positions.
And still,
they're still touching.
They're still trying to trade door paint.
And here's the thing: they're a little lighter on fuel. They're on a little bit more used rubber from when the stint started. So, car is gonna handle a little bit different. Looks like Hazel does make out. And 343 falls behind into P4. John Tracy.
Hard battle in there. Under 10 minutes now left to go. Rose Gaming in the chat says, well spun. I saw the yellow flag on him. By the time we got there, he was straightened back out. Now Charlie Booth within 1.8 seconds, however.
Now here's the thing. So well spun. We're still 8 minutes away. Like, how bad did he just wreck his tires? That is going to be the question. Because if he really destroyed his tires, it's going to be real difficult to hold anybody back.
Yeah. So Jake Wells up 2 spots on the day. Charlie Booth up 4. Delilah Hazel down 2. Qualified in 1st and now running in 3rd. John Tracy flat right now in P4. Big winner today, though. Mike Burkhoff up 6 spots on the day, along with Matt Comiskey. So everybody trading around positions today. Things a little more spread out this lap, a little calmer.
So unfortunately, Tracy did not come out in front of Hazel when they got to the start-finish straightaway, and that's not really what he wants to see, because now the Audi should pull away on the straights a little bit more. The one thing I'm noticing about Delilah's setup, though, in Sector 3 in particular, the car goes very deep into the corners, which kind of like pinches the angle she has to take on corner exit. And she's losing a lot of speed relative to Tracy on corner exit.
I noticed the corner after signal, whatever that is. I've
the double right-hander.
A couple laps Delilah's been out, like she's gone deep into that, and it looked like she didn't quite have the control she needed coming through that corner. So I understand what you're saying there.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's an easy corner to cut, right? Because in the double right-hander, you go wide, like you're not going to get a track warning unless you kind of like cut the entry of the following left-hander. Like
Yeah.
that's the only way you're going to get really a track warning for like an actual cut warning as opposed to no time gain.
Gotcha.
So it's easy to overshoot that corner. But at the same time too, that's not what you want to do because that you got marbles out there, you got rough. Oh, there's a drive-through.
Nikolai
Cleared for
Tsiabuk.
gasoline.
Yeah, cleared for gasolina. Nikolai Tsiabuk pulls a drive-through. Paul Morris pulling a drive-through.
And see, this is what we were talking about in the first race. You were kind of curious why we didn't see more drive-throughs in the first race. It's just a shorter race. Like these guys are racing for twice the amount of time. 5 minutes, 45 seconds.
But Delilah Hazel now starting to close in on Booth again.
Yeah. Wells lost only about 3/10 to Booth. So if he can kind of hold this pace that he's running right now with whatever happened to the tires when he spun, like he could hang on to this. It's going to be tough though. It's going to be tough. Because the thing about tire wear, especially in these GT3 cars, is that once you start to have tire wear, you end up in the situation with mounting losses because the car handles bad. And because the car handles bad, you slide more, and when you slide more, the car handles worse. So it just ends up being this like feedback loop of the car degrading and losing pace.
Hazel with the wicked cut on that final corner now on the start-finish straight with Charlie Booth. Let's see if she's going to trade door paint with him too. She's got this inside line into T1. Delilah Hazel takes up P2. Maybe. Able to hold
Booth's got
on
the
to
inside line into turn 2, but he's also got way too much of the curb, so he's going to lose out relative to corner exit.
Sorry, yeah, I meant turn 1. She had inside on turn 1. Now Charlie Booth inside on T2, but wasn't able to hold on. Delilah Hazel takes up P2.
So Wells, now, because of all this fighting, like Wells now 2.8 seconds ahead.
Yep.
So this is exactly what Jake needed. Depending on how things have been going with him relative to his pace in the first stint, probably just like sitting back, trying to put in consistent times and not really trying to push the car and let the tires come back to him.
Right now, Timothy Glendenning catching up on the back end of Lewis Ricard down the straight. Glendenning looking for his shot.
I'm telling you, man, it's so interesting the lines that people are taking on the defensive into the Mistral Straight. Wow, and did they touch?
Looked like there might have been a little bit of rub in there. Not enough to impact anybody, but certainly looked like there could have been contact.
Yeah.
So Timothy Glendenning going to hold on to P8 for now. Just under 3 minutes left to go. Final laps coming down. Great racing today, though.
Absolutely.
Battles the entire time for both races, and it's so rare because you know, I think this is a testament to the drivers getting better throughout the seasons too. Yep. Because you know, first 2 seasons, after the first 15 or 20 minutes of a race, everybody was spread out. Everybody was spread out. You got very few battles in, say, the second half of a 30-minute race or the second half of a 45-minute race, right?
Yeah.
Now it seems as though sitting here, the job got harder because we have battles throughout the entirety of races all the time, which is good. That's a good thing. I don't want to make it sound like it's bad, but it is interesting to see how that's changed over the seasons.
Well, I mean, the other thing is too is that for an hour-long race, like we're looking at the field, even with like Paul Morris having that incident early on in the race, like a majority of the field's still on lead lap. A large majority of the field's still on lead lap, which is, you know, you got a mixture up and down the grid. Like that's a testament to some really, you know, good racing.
Absolutely. Daniel
Booth
Pickett
is catching Hazel.
He is. Delilah Hazel holding on to it for now. But Daniel Pickett able to pick up P19 over Ridian Lloyd Davis. As We stick to it right here. Just over 1 minute left to go. Delilah Hazel looking to hold on to P2 in today's race. Welcome in, Ito the G. And there it is. Jake Wells begins his final lap. Delilah Hazel in P2. Charlie Booth sitting in third with John Tracy and Tobias Gable in P5 right now. Gable up 5 spots on the day. Definitely a good race for him. But Jake Wells probably very happy with how his race has gone. Able to get the jump out early, up 2 spots to take first, or to fight his way up to first. Now holding on as Delilah Hazel tries to keep Charlie Booth at bay here on this final lap. So, Welp, are you telling me that Ito the G is the gentleman I heard yesterday on that stream?
No, that is Mr. Eric Kokoskian.
Oh, okay. Eric
One and only.
Eric was broadcasting yesterday?
He was not broadcasting. He was racing.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Mike Noss and you're my boy Blue were doing the broadcast.
Blue
they
was
did
on the broadcast.
Hell of a show.
Wow. I was only there, and Charlie Booth gets around, takes up P2 just like that on Delilah Hazel. We're gonna fight this scrap right to the end. I tuned in for a little bit yesterday when I was able to actually sit down, and I didn't realize Blue was broadcasting.
Yep.
Excellent.
That was a lot of fun to watch. Those two have a pretty good rapport with one another. Good jokes, good time.
Yep.
Good racing, good commentary.
Excellent.
And a good race. All in all.
The next 12 hour, I'll be all by myself. Oh, it's gonna be crazy. We'll see if Hazel is able to squeak some out here at the end. Now, watch this last corner because she has done very well to get a launch, but I don't know if it's gonna be enough.
Oop.
Yeah, she tried to throw it out wide, but it's not quite there. Jake Wells is your winner in the number 84 today. Delilah Hazel decides to bounce it off the wall once or twice on her way out.
That was a tough race.
It was
really good action on track from a commentary perspective. But Wells taking it home. Good start for him. He's got to be super excited about that, man.
Absolutely, especially getting the jump off the line there near the beginning. A hard-fought battle for the first couple laps, and then due to a disconnect, unfortunately, it's sorry to say, but Jake able to take it because of a disconnect of one of our drivers. So Jake Wells, Charlie Booth, Delilah Hazel are your podium today. John Tracy, Tobias Gable, rounding out the top 5. Anthony Anderson, Jarrett Skinner, Timothy Glendenning, Lewis Ricard, Stephen Dunn are your top 10 in the Pro and Silver class race today.
Jake is cutting some serious donuts.
Obviously very excited for the win today.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, sir, I want to say thank you for joining me. You're going to be here next week, right?
Yes, sir.
Come back for Barcelona. Same bat channel, same bat time.
Well, I'm going to be here next week, but you should know, Saturday we're running the 24 hours, the Rolex 24 hours in iRacing.
Oh, really? You're running with like you're driving it with a team or you're broadcasting? Oh, I lost him. Hold on. Because for whatever reason, there you are. My Discord decided to lose its
I was going to
mind,
tell you,
so.
me and the 949 boys are running the Rolex 24.
Okay, so are you guys broadcasting it or you're driving?
We'll be racing in it, but I'll have a stream up for the 949 guys, and then I'll be around for the race. So okay. I'll be a little worse for wear. But,
I can imagine.
But
awesome.
I think you'll be able to help me out there.
All right, no problem, man. We'll take care of you. If you're wore out, you're wore out. Don't even worry about it. We got you. But good luck on that. I hope you and your team do really well. I've never thought about participating in a 24. I don't think as much as I think I might want to, I don't think I want to, if that makes sense.
There are definitely some times when I'm like, man, why did I do this? And then at the same time, I'm like, man, I'm glad I got to do that.
Right? Yeah, it seems like one of those things.
I think endurance racing is definitely something that you should give a shot to, because it's during your moments when you're in the car and stuff like that, it's
Mhm.
pretty exhilarating. So
Sweet. Well, good luck to you, sir, next Saturday. Enjoy it.
yes, sir.
Have fun. Don't forget, folks, we are back. As I said, we're back next Sunday at Barcelona. Same time, 30 minutes and 45 minutes, AM and Pro and AM and Pro-Am and Pro and Silver Racing, respectively. Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. And by the way, Phil, you're welcome to join us for Recovery Drive if you'd like to. 100%, anytime. Let me know.
Cool.
I'll make sure you're in that channel if you aren't already. We'll get you taken care of. But Recovery Drive starts at 8 p.m., runs about an hour. We review this race. We talk about chilling out. We roast people's rigs, and we talk about the upcoming race. So we'll be talking about Barcelona. And in just over a month, February 18th, 1 p.m. UTC, the 12 hours at Mount Panorama. I love that track. I love that circuit. It is going to be an absolute blast. So please come back and join us right here at Box 3 Motorsports for that. Mr. Whelpcakes, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
It was a lot of fun. It's a good start.
It's an excellent start to the season. So everyone, we will be back in 1 week. Be sure and join us right here at Box 3 Motorsports. Have yourselves a great week.